Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
'Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. There's still time. The AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam territory of the University of beautiful British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenheimer.
And we're back with another packed podcast. And at the time of recording this, it's Sunday night. So we've got 7 more sleeps until the big semi-final on Saturday between the Whitecaps and LAFC. Unsurprisingly, that will be covered a lot in this episode. We'll also be talking the MLS schedule change that is now official, although a lot of the details aren't. We'll be looking at the changes to the MLS Apple TV deal as well. We'll be talking FIFA World Cup tickets, qualifiers for 26, the under-17. We've got a lot of fun audio to bring you. We'll be hearing from Tristan Blackmon, Jesper Sorensen, Dax McCarty, and Maurice Edu from MLS Apple TV. I sit down for a chat with the returning Brian White, and our feature interview this episode is with Whitecaps club reporter Sarita Patel. We've wanted to get Sarita on the show for a while, so we finally have, and it's a fun chat, as you'd expect. When I sit down blabbing away to her, and yeah, we'll have some fun music thrown in along the way as well. But before we get into all of that, we'll start as we always do, Zach. How has your week been?
Yeah, as usual, very full. Lots going on in life and work and family. Yeah, I just came back from a football match tonight. Got to watch the U19s, so it was kind of fun.
What number is that for you this year?
60.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was thinking today, I was walking the dog, I was thinking about this. I was like, I need to work out how many I've been to this year, just partly out of my own curiosity, but just to see how it compares with yours. The fact that I did 13 games and 4 days in Red Deer probably adds to my numbers.
Oh, yeah. Those are like Doha numbers right there.
Yes. I didn't have to leave the warm commentary booth.
Yeah, no, it was like technically, I mean, I've been to lots of, I played a number of games, actually not on this pitch, but I got to go to Cloverdale Athletic, and I've been there for, evaluation sessions in the VFC era. But today was the first time I watched a match there.
I've seen some provincial cup games there and League One as well.
Unity, yeah. Did you call a game from there?
Oh yeah, I've done a couple. Yeah.
When you call a game from there, where are you? Are you up in
the clubhouse on the balcony?
Yeah. On the balcony. Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. What Unity do there? Well, Unity and Surrey United, because it's all kind of combined, and it's their kind of second team that's in the FVSL as well now.
Yeah.
They put on such a really good match day experience. If you've never got out to a Unity game there, definitely recommend. They've got food trucks, they've got a DJ, it's good viewing. When it's really warm and the sun's beating down, it is quite hot. But the little clubhouse is fantastic. I'm up on the balcony when I'm calling the games, and I've always thought it's a really nice setup at Cloverdale.
Yeah, tonight was no rain during the game, which was great, and then it was not nearly as cold as I thought it was going to be. Kind of quite a bit warmer than some other the last couple of weeks, I feel like. But
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mild one tonight. I haven't got out to any VMSL games so far this season. So now that all the college stuff's wrapped up, I hope to get out to some before the year is out. I did go up the mountain on Saturday afternoon to watch SFU's women do the three-peat. Three straight GNAC championships. Fantastic. Went to a penalty shootout. And it's the NCAA rules, because I always forget when I go up, they're a little bit weirder. One of them is subs can run on the pitch before the other subs have gone off, which to me is a recipe for disaster.
sorry, what now?
Yeah.
There's
So
subs on the fly?
yeah. So the subs are running on, and then they've run on, and the sub that's going off hasn't gone off. So if the referee switches off for a minute, you could technically end up with 12 players on the pitch.
That's
And
awkward.
you can come and go as well in college football. So I mean that's different. NCAA, the clock counts down as well.
I mean, NCAA has given new freedoms to their players in terms of being able to make money, but changing on the fly, that's different in football.
Well, also, I mean, but I want to get Devin Kerr back on the show because he does all the NCAA games down in the US. Because there's going to be a big shake-up of NCAA with US soccer. They're going to have not just the fall schedule, but they look to have a spring schedule now as well, play more games, more development, become more aligned. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of has a knock-on effect for like SFU, League One, stuff like that. But yeah, the SFU women, tremendous. And I got another fog experience up at UBC, not UBC, up at SFU. The fog just rolled in and out constantly throughout the game. Towards the end of the 90 minutes, you couldn't see the ball. 10 minutes later, it was a completely clear pitch and the sun was out. It's bizarre. And then the penalty shootout, I was kind of down at pitch level. They gave me all access for it. So I was like, oh, I'm going into the hospitality pizza hut and got myself some pizza because it was chilly up there. But yeah, well done to SFU. We're going to be doing probably an extra podcast where we'll have some interviews with SFU, UBC players, and also we'll maybe make it a women's soccer special and focus on Vancouver Rise because the other big success for Vancouver-based women's soccer teams on a bigger scale. Congratulations to Vancouver Rise, the first ever NSL champions. And 2-1 victory in Toronto against AFC Toronto. And the match winner, friend of the show, Holly Ward.
Yeah, congrats to the Rise. Did Toronto FC get like a supporter shield type?
Yeah, so AFC Toronto got the supporter shield.
Yeah, okay.
The Rise won the playoffs championship. There's still no official confirmation whether the NSL team is going to be in the Women's CONCACAF Champions Cup next year, though. Those negotiations are still continuing. And also, is it the Rise as the playoff winners, or will it be the Supporter Shield winners? Because in League One, it was the regular season champion that went into the Canadian Championship.
I mean, in football, traditionally, it's who wins the league, right? And in North American, traditionally, it's who wins the play.
So that's going to be interesting if they even get the spot. So yeah.
I didn't watch the final live, but I've seen the highlights. It was interesting highlights. Interesting
goalkeeping. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean the Toronto goal. I mean the keeper gets megged and unfortunately goes off the Rise keeper's heel or quad or not quad, calf or whatever, and finds a way to the back of the net. But you told me she was named, like she got the game.
Yeah, she got the player of the game, and the Toronto player that scored, Kaylee Hunter, former Whitecaps academy player, that chose to go to Toronto over the Rise because she got offered a far better deal and incentives.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she's going to come back and haunt them. And she did, but not ultimately.
But for me, if you want to question the Rise goalkeeping on the opening goal, I mean, the goalkeeping on for Toronto on both of the
Yeah, I
both
mean
the
that
Rise
the
goals
one at
is
the corner. I know the conditions were horrible, but that was a horrendous goal.
yeah. Oh yeah. To be fair, the rain by that point was coming down
Yeah, and they had the
something
weather
fierce.
delay
It,
and
you
thunder.
you you and I were talking before the show, and it reminded me the I mean it's not the exact same, but the first ever MLS Cup was played in torrential rain. I want to say in like LA. I think it was the game. Was it in LA? It was either LA or it was like on the East Coast. But anyways, it was major rain because I just remember like Eddie Pope scoring and like knee sliding into like a puddle in the corner or something. But yeah, there was a lot of rain, but I mean the equalizer is an own goal from the keeper off a corner, like unfortunately, because it takes the touch from the defender and the keeper bobbles it off of herself and into the goal. So it's an own goal from the keeper, unfortunately. And then the keeper again, all credit to Holly Ward for her finish,
Mm,
but I don't think the positioning is the greatest on the winner from the keeper. But
no,
again, that's nothing not to take anything away from the Rise. The Rise
no. I mean, Holly's finish
did the
was superb.
business.
And if you haven't seen Caitlin McDonald's photos, she flew out
Oh
to
yeah.
Toronto for us. She's got amazing photos of Holly's
Yeah.
winner up on her Flickr account.
Yeah.
So
Caitlin's great.
flickr.com/AFTN Canada. Caitlin's a fantastic addition to our team.
Yeah, she's been awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have full Rise coverage once we get to do the post game or the end of season media availability. We'll bring that out in a special kind of women's soccer episode that we'll do. But we'll talk MLS in this first part because it's been a monumental decision this
Yeah.
week, really, by the league. MLS Soccer announced on Thursday that after their Board of Governors meeting, rumours for a while, but the league has confirmed that it is going to shift the competition calendar to align with top leagues around the world. So beginning in the summer of 2027, MLS will adopt a summer to spring season format, and there's still a lot to be thrashed out. So we both went on Don Garber's media call,
Yeah, it was fun to be on there.
and I even got picked to ask a question.
You
Got a
did.
very short answer, but
Well done. It's it seems like Don Garber went to the Thomas Mueller School of not wanting to answer your question, or
yes, at least they let me ask it.
that's true. That is true. He did let you finish.
But he said a lot without saying anything.
Well, he just basically said we're not answering that now, right?
Yeah.
Because
So
yeah,
basically, we're not bringing you any of the audio on this show, but I do have the full press conference. So I'm either going to bring it out in an extra podcast next week, or we still might bring out another show this week ahead of the LAFC game because we've got a few irons in the work that if they come off, we'll have stuff to put in. So then we might make that a show that will include the whole Garber press conference. If not, we'll bring it out in an extra podcast. But basically, I asked them about the contracts because all the contracts, or the vast majority of them, run till December every year. So if
hmm
you're now switching to an August to May schedule, you're going to have players that contract will finish halfway through the season. So do you extend them or do you cut them short? So I'd asked him if that was something that they were negotiating, and he didn't want to get into it at all. But he has said they are continuing to work with the MLSPA to finalize the agreement on the transition plan. But that's a big thing, Zach, because you could have players that they lose 6 months of an MLS deal if they bring it forward, or they get extended when they don't want to be extended into 2027.
yeah. I mean, I like your question. It's a really valid and important question, and it'll be interesting to finally get the answer when we do. But to me, Michael, it does feel like something like they do have a bit of time to sort out
Oh, yeah.
and to figure out in terms of how they want to land that ship, right? Because again, it'll be I think in the worst case scenario, Mike, like it'll be like because some players have had this in the past where they have had, 4.5 year contracts because they started halfway through the season. It'll be the same kind of thing. It'll be just like, look, this guy's contract's up at the winter break. So if you want to re-sign him for another half year or a year and a half or 2.5 or 3.5 or 4.5 and even it out. I don't think it's going to be a huge obstacle for them to overcome, especially because they're going to have what, a year and a half to build up to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will be either, but I'm surprised that that hasn't already kind of been like.
I
I
think
mean,
for
it might
them,
be further forward than we know, and they just don't want
yeah,
to talk
it,
about it.
yeah, it could be that they've agreed things with the MLSPA, but they're not ready to announce them for whatever reason. Or it could be like that's one of the things for them that's a smaller stone that they're going to move a little bit further down the process. They're worried about moving some of the bigger ones right now, which would probably have to do with, scheduling or stadium availability
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever. I
I
mean,
mean,
a lot of the questions from people like Tannenwald and stuff were around that, like, hey, or maybe it was only Tannenwald. I can't
I mean,
remember.
Tanner Walls was like, I know this is behind closed doors, but tell me.
Yeah. Well, he kind of wanted to know, like, look, basically, how is because the league has been often been about compensation. Like, look, you're getting the short end of the stick in this. We're gonna, give you more GAM or whatever. You were bad this year. We'll give you extra money for your salary budget, or whatever. So it sounded like he wanted to know, is there compensation in some way, shape, or form for those teams who this will, unbalancedly affect, right? Like, he's in Philadelphia, so he knows this is going to
Mhm.
impact Philadelphia. If you got to play a home match in Philadelphia in November, December, or February, or it's going to impact their gate. It's going to impact, a whole bunch of things for them. So it was, yeah, again, that's a valid question. And it would be one day, it would be nice to know if there is some kind of like, hey, Montreal, Toronto, Philadelphia, whoever else, Seattle,
Well, I mean,
Portland.
there's a lot because I can't
I
remember
guess,
who it was,
sorry,
but
I guess the Cascadian Club should be okay.
no, but yeah, because I saw it was a chart of the warmest markets in MLS from the 30 teams in December and in February. So Miami and Orlando is the top two. Vancouver is the third warmest market in December and February, tied with Atlanta.
I
70
mean,
degrees Fahrenheit is your
but then,
average.
I mean, but it's a not, sorry. And this is obviously a point of contention at the moment, but at the moment, or maybe not at the moment, sorry, from 2025 and previously, that doesn't even matter for the Whitecaps because they're playing in a dome,
Yes.
right? They're playing in a
Which,
closed
funnily enough,
facility.
so are Atlanta. And
True.
that's who we're tied with.
Yeah, true. Very, very
But
true.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, it doesn't feel like we're that warm and it's pissing with rain constantly every other day here. But I mean, what they're going to do is the season will start mid-August. Then there will be a midwinter break from mid-December through to early February. Now, I'm gutted we're not getting Christmas games. I love my Christmas games and Christmas and New Year, as I've spoken about many times on the show. I'm sure the players are happy that there's no Christmas games. But yeah, there's going to be a 2 month break, mid-December to early February. So when you look at it that way, the amount of games that's going to really hit the cold markets isn't going to be massive because the season right now, anyway, league wise, starts at the end of February. And if you're in Champions Cup action, it starts mid February. And if you're going all the way deep in the playoffs, you could be playing until early December. So I
Yeah,
don't think, I mean, you're maybe adding an extra two, 3 games to these really cold markets.
yeah. Again, as much as I think years ago when we first heard about the possibility, or a year ago, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I
it's been a 2 year official review that
Yeah.
they've been looking at this.
So I think initially I was just like, this is stupid. This is not going to happen. Like, why would they do this?
Yeah, that was my initial thought.
But the more it's kind of like with the best of three playoffs. I've kind of I'm not come around on it in terms of I think it's the best way to go, but I see why they're doing it. This, I actually think for them probably is the best way to go because, and they sort of touched on this, but here's the thing, Michael, you're going for the most part, I mean, one of the biggest changes in this is yes, you're going to have whatever, let's say 3 to 6 really cold matches in the year, right? But for many of these teams, you already have, let's say, 2 to 6 cold matches in the
Mhm.
year. And the major difference that they're going to have is those cold matches right now are the most important times of the season. The very
Yep.
beginning, when you're trying to get people excited about the season and draw them in and have them have a season ticket, like
Yep.
come to the first game and get a season ticket. And it's like, yeah, but it's freezing and there's icicles at the stadium and whatever. Um, and the playoffs when it's like, hey, come support us. We're trying to win a championship.
Yeah. Because we talked in last week's show, the CPL final, farcical conditions. It's a hill I will die on. That game should not have been played unless that pitch was cleared.
I think for player safety, it is you've seen the fallout from it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And as long as these markets, the cold markets, can clear the pitch and get the game on, it's fine.
If we can go on for a small, very brief
Mhm.
tangent, a couple of things. One, I mean, the fallout from the CPL is, as far as I can understand, player-wise, has been no issue. I mean, obviously, if you're Cavs, you feel like you got the short end of the stick.
Well, yeah, both Tommy and Mejia both
Yeah,
said it wasn't a game of football.
no, and I mean, you feel worse for the losing side. But a couple of things a couple of things. Number one is, and I don't think this was their intention, but a byproduct of everything that happened is the ridiculous amount of exposure the league has gotten.
Yeah, it was
Where
over a
you
million or
a billion or
was it a
something.
billion?
Yeah, it's some kind of crazy numbers. The number of people who have seen that final, that goal, whatever the conditions has been went viral on social media, like around the world on all the biggest footballing places in like the United Kingdom and other parts of the world and stuff. And social media, influencer football type people were like, what is going on here? This is like crazy. I gotta watch it, and then I gotta make a video of me watching it and my reaction, and then that just snowballs it all, pun intended, I guess. But it's huge for them. So in one sense for this time, I think for them it pays off. It works really in their favor. I did hear an interview with Nate Ingham. Nate Ingham was interviewed he's kind of buddies with people at Footy Prime. And he did an interview, and I believe he said, Michael, that they got no sense that there was any chance the game was going to be rescheduled. Because though, Mike, is the very next day after the final, the stadium, TD Place or whatever it's called, was to undergo renovations.
Oh,
So if they had postponed the game, they were like, "You're playing at a neutral venue. You're not playing here." Like if this game is
oh
you want to play a
wow.
day later, a week later, 2 weeks later, it would not be at that stadium. So you and I think had speculated like, okay, the league must have like not been able to afford a switch or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you would have also, if you're Ottawa, you would have lost the competitive advantage of being at home.
Yep. Which you've worked hard to get.
You worked hard to get the 13,000 people in there for it. And yeah, and then you're at a different venue with less of your fans and who knows how many fans and who knows where and all that kind of stuff. And so it wasn't just CPL saying, "Hey, we can't afford this." There were external factors beyond
Mm.
their control that were like, we got to make this go ahead. So again, that doesn't nullify your perspective.
No, but I mean,
Um,
like ultimately, a normal league game played in that, it's a bit of fun.
yeah,
A
yeah.
championship game,
No,
with
farcical,
everything
yeah.
on the line, not so much. And that's now what MLS won't have. Because right
Exactly.
now, even this year, we could have the MLS
Totally.
Cup in Philadelphia, in
Ex-
Cincinnati, in a
Exactly.
snowy pitch. And
Yep.
you don't want that for your championship game. So this switch now means all the playoffs are going to be in nice weather.
Beautiful spring, sun, maybe rain.
Yeah.
If you're in Edmonton, it could be snow, but
Cup final played in proper conditions. Also played without having to stop for a couple of weeks break for the international
yes,
calendar.
no international
So
breaks. Yep.
everything flows as well. Although MLS have said they're still evaluating what the playoffs will look like. So we've speculated, or I've speculated, I think I just have a feeling they're going to go to like groups, but we'll see.
Yeah, I can't see them going to groups now because they said they're going to finish like early mid-April, you only have a month and a half.
Yeah, because then they want everything wrapped up in
It feels like
mid to late May.
it feels like it's going all single elimination.
I mean, I'd be up for that. That would be fun as well. The the 27-28 season, but so this is going to get used to talking about that again, which I'm
Yeah.
used to from times in Scotland.
Well,
Everything's something to something.
yeah,
But then here, you've just got so used to talking about, oh, the 2025 season.
yeah. But so the 2027 is going to be like Formula One. They're going to have a sprint season, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is going to be fantastic for the Whitecaps because we've got Emmanuel Sabi and Jaden Nelson, and they will love a sprint season. A peach wing.
I wonder what that, yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting.
That What's so interesting about that though as well is because they've said that will have implications for things like the US Open Cup, Canadian Championship.
Oh, yeah. Well, it totally impacted the Voyageurs Cup.
Yeah, CONCACAF Champions Cup qualification, and it's like, oh, so whoever does well in the sprint season will be in the 2028 Champions Cup.
Yeah. It has to be.
But yeah, it's going to, because this is the thing as well. We don't foresee the CPL is going to make this switch, but maybe they'll look at the exposure they got from the snow game and think, oh, we could get this more often. I think it would be a bad thing for them. MLS have also not said how it's going to affect MLS Next Pro. Like right now, it's not making the switch.
So I think, I can't remember if just you and I talked about this or I mentioned on the show a while ago, but in this, whatever, 2-year window, as MLS has been evaluating this, I don't know to what extent, but I think I can confidently say CPL has been evaluating it as well. I think it's obviously the challenges are far greater for CPL, but I wouldn't say that the door on that type of change is or it's like a no-go zone. I think there's definitely an openness to it, but if it were to happen with the CPL, I think it would be a number of years after MLS had done it successfully, essentially.
Yeah, you want to see how that plays out.
Well, two things. You want to see how it plays out for them. Two, you also want to see, is there a benefit for you to having a different time of
Yeah.
season than the CPL? But I mean, one of the things Garber said that for me that was interesting in all of this, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but one of the most interesting things that he was very keen to point out
I think I know what you're going to say.
was when he said one of the things we told the owners this meeting session we just had where we just made these decisions were this, I want to say summer, I think it was summer or this year, maybe it's the year 2025, we made $200 million in outgoing transfers, and he said we expect that to increase significantly if our season was in line with Europe or the majority of the world or whatever.
That
So I
wasn't
think,
what I thought you were going to mention, but yeah, I forgot he mentioned that. But
no,
yeah,
because
that was interesting figures.
because if you're at the same time, it means more likely for more movement. It means more likely that you could get probably higher prices, right? And whether that's like maybe you'll get some January transfer movement where it's like clubs who are desperate. So because the January you're usually overpaying typically, right? Because
Yes.
clubs are desperate to fill in for injuries or whatever, or Luis Suarez type suspensions or something like that. But even in the whatever the end of August or the July August window, they expect that they will be able to increase the amount they're getting because of being fully aligned, right? Plus, think about it in terms of how many times. I mean, the first real example we probably remember in Vancouver is Pedro Morales, who comes from Europe, having played a full season, and then tries to play a full season for a team in MLS, and he was more than knackered by the end. He
Yeah.
couldn't really fully participate by the end of the season. And so even that just shapes things, right? So saying to a club in Europe, hey, we want to sell you a guy, but yeah, he just played 8 months for us. Right now you're like, oh, he's just in preseason training like you are.
But
There's
you've also got like let's look at Ali Ahmed.
yes,
So
yes,
they were looking to to sign him in the August transfer window, but the Whitecaps rightly are like, well, we don't want to let him go because we're at the most important part of our season.
Totally.
Let's have this discussion in January. So you don't have that either.
No, it's going to be way easier for those players to move, and for MLS clubs, I think will be more, more open to moving them at the time because it's easier to replace them at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not replacing them and bringing into a group of players who've been playing half a season. It's bringing into a group of players who are in preseason and trying to gel. And so it's the perfect time. Yeah, it really sets them up, I think, nicely to live out, Donnie G's ideal of them being this highly thought of league around the world.
Mm-hmm. The flip side, if you're looking at players coming in, especially for this sprint season, like that's so interesting to me. So it's a 14-game regular season with playoffs and MLS Cup. And it'll run February to May 2027. So you could see some players that's maybe not happy with the club that they're at. And it's like, okay, I'll go MLS for 6 months, take part in one season, see what I think, and then keep my options open. So you could have some really short-term signings. In Vancouver, now, we've not had official confirmation that Thomas Muller is definitely back for 2026. I think everyone would be absolutely gutted if he's not. Although, if the Whitecaps win the MLS Cup, I mean, what else does he have to do here? But he might be like, oh, well, it's another 3 months. I could do another 3 months and just extend from 26 for the 27 sprint season as well. So you could get a little bit extra Thomas Muller out of it.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. What was the thing you thought I was going to bring up? No.
The transfer windows now are going to see the Canadian MLS teams classed as US domestic. So you could have those teams having different transfer windows from the CPL teams. And we've also talked about like loan deals between the two, how that might muddy the waters a little bit if they're having different seasons as well.
What I'll say on that is, as much as I'd prefer for Canadian teams to be playing in the Canadian League, and I know that's probably not the most popular opinion amongst our listeners, as much as I think that's how it should be, while things are the way they are and have been, I think that those clubs need to be on the same schedule. And that may be a departure from what I've said in the past, but I think that needs to happen for them to have that even playing field. However, I would also say there does need to be some kind of exceptions or amendments or whatever to allow, CPL or League One BC sides or however, whoever else to be able to do like loan deals from those clubs like within their own country.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like an Aidan O'Connor from Deadpool should be able to be loaned in outside of their windows into CPL, but whatever, Max Anchor or whoever should be able.
The Pacific FC Young Player of the Year, Max Anchor.
That's still so awkward to me.
10 games played for Pacific, their Young Player of the Year, came back and played 6 games for WFC2.
Yeah, did he get it on the back of his WFC2?
Probably. He got them into the playoffs, had a good run.
That is so many shades of awkward. So a player that
when you told me that, because I'd missed that, and I was like, what?
Why would you even allow him? I don't know.
Who voted for it?
So he's a guy you brought in on loan to either battle for the number one spot or to be the number one keeper. Ultimately, he loses that spot. He doesn't Sean Melvin takes that spot and makes it his own.
Sean.
Yeah. And so, why? Yeah. And then it's an indictment on the youth development of Pacific.
I was just about to say, it says a lot about the other players that they had there.
Yeah, it's
the guy that didn't play gets the Young Player of the Year in a league where you have to have 2,000 under 21 minutes. We've gone off on a tangent, sorry, but I just had to mention that. The strategic benefits that the league are seeing for the switch is to optimize the global transfer market for players in and out, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
Maximize player signings, as we've kind of talked about as well, because you're all in the same window then, which is great, to align with the FIFA International Match Calendar, which is
Yes,
wonderful.
huge.
And especially, as I said, not with this break now in the playoffs. And just when everything's fired up and everyone's so excited, yeah, we're off for 2 weeks.
Is there any? Sorry, I'll let you keep going. Then I'll
Well, the
say.
last one was just to like to elevate the playoffs because it's better weather, better timing,
Yeah,
not clashing with NFL.
and even just think about MLS Cup or MLS even the playoffs. How many more now? How many more fans can travel? Because you're like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
let's go to Philadelphia in May. Oh yeah, okay. Well,
yeah.
let me that work. Let's go to Philadelphia in December, first week of December. Anyone? Yeah, I went. The only time I went, it was like, was it first week of March or no? It was the
Oh,
end of.
were saying how cold it was.
Oh, dude, it was that day at that stadium was. It's on the right on the water. It was
I
freezing.
still think I might be heading there in December.
I think it was March. It must have been like it must have been the 26th of March or something because the first game was the 19th and it was a week later. So yeah, it was the 26th of March, and it was like yeah, and I was like, why didn't I not bring a winter jacket? It was a nightmare.
So I mean, there's so many benefits, and hopefully more eyeballs on the league as well. And that kind of brings us to the other big announcement this week that we won't go into as in depth, but talking of eyeballs on the league, there's been a change. MLS Season Pass on Apple TV is no more from the end of this year. Every MLS match, playoffs, regular season, Leagues Cup, they're all now going to be on the main Apple TV. Now, you're a subscriber to Apple TV. I'm not. I had my 3-month free trial when I got my new TV, so I got through all Ted Lasso. But now, Ted Lasso and MLS will be on the same channel, the same streaming platform. If you've got an Apple TV membership, you get all the MLS games. If you're a season ticket holder for an MLS club, you're now getting free Apple TV. That just seems fantastic. More eyeballs
Oh yeah,
on the league.
yeah. It's yeah. It makes you makes you wonder for Apple. Like I guess those. I mean, there was tens of thousands of free subscriptions um due to season ticket holders across the league.
Mm.
So now those are going to be for their whole platform.
Yeah.
So does that, I guess that helps them say, hey, we have more subscribers or more people who are part of this.
Yeah.
Therefore we have more views to everything. I just don't understand what's the
Well,
upside.
in the US, they're trying to have more sport on Apple. So
Yeah, Formula
Formula One in
One.
the
Yeah.
US is going to be on Apple, which obviously it's not here at the
Yeah.
moment. But you wonder now, with more eyeballs on it, do they then make plays for other sport? But then they're not getting that income in from season ticket holders. And like you, for example, you've got Apple just now. If you were also a Whitecap season ticket holder, you'd be like, well, I'll just cancel my Apple subscription there. And they've
Yeah.
lost money.
True.
So we'll see about that. But Sportico then dropped an exclusive on Friday, which is very interesting. The deal with Apple, which was originally a 10-year deal till 2032, is going to end 3.5 years early, and it will now end in June 2029. So at the end of the 2028-2029 season.
But it doesn't mean that it can't be extended
No,
or a new
you
deal
can
struck.
renegotiate and do new stuff. So there is that. But it also leaves MLS open to new suitors. And
So is that just a good thing for both parties?
I think so.
Because with the way I read the release, that ultimately they're making 50 million more than they would over the course of the seven
Yeah.
seasons, whatever. So it's not like they've maximized it or they've made a bonus on those 7 seasons, and then after that time they can re-up, they're a free agent or yeah.
And yeah, see what the interest is. So MLS, according to this article, will get 200 million in 2026, 107 million for the sprint season, and then 275 million for each of the final 2 seasons of the deal. Now, Apple had a get out clause for 2027. If they felt it wasn't working, they could have walked away. So that now no longer exists and the deal's ending early. So you have to think Apple are happy with how things are going. We had the vice president of Apple on the show a few weeks back as well, and he was talking about how delighted it is. I've got to say, Apple's coverage is tremendous. I've loved it. And the studio stuff's brilliant. All the other stuff that they go ahead of games, after games, MLS Next Pro, everything they've done, I think, has been tremendous. And it's really helped grow the league. But the big complaint is folk aren't paying the money necessarily to watch it. And a lot of your casual fans aren't tuning in. Whether this captures some of those casual fans now, I don't know. Because how many did Apple have compared to, say, if it was on Netflix or something like that?
Yeah. I know you had said this a lot, but I really noticed it when, after Thomas had signed, a bunch of people had said to me, oh, like, what do you think about this or whatever, blah, blah. And I was surprised at how many people said to me, yeah, I've really disengaged since the Apple deal. It was like, they were like, there's no way. These are people who weren't season ticket holders, so obviously they didn't get it for free. But they were like, yeah, I've really disengaged because I can't watch the game. So I feel disconnected to the season, to the team, to what's going on. And I don't really know what's going on. But Thomas is just signed, so now I'm a little bit more engaged. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if this helps remove at least part of that barrier.
Interesting times in Major League Soccer. Interesting times on the pitch as well as the playoffs get back underway this coming weekend. And we're going to turn our attention to the Whitecaps, LAFC in the next part. Lots of audio to bring you, lots of chat to bring you. And we'll be back with that after this episode's song from our album of the month.
Hi, I'm Brian White, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Sat on the porch, listened to the rain, smoked a cigarette, counted to 10. Oh no, here it comes again, that funny feeling. Oh no, here it comes again, that funny feeling. One was not serious, one was confused, one was just vicious, and one was like you. Oh no, here it comes again, that funny feeling. Oh no, here it comes again, that funny feeling. Sat on the porch, listened to the rain, smoked another cigarette, and counted to 10. Oh no, here it comes again, that funny feeling. Oh no, here it comes again, that funny feeling. Here it comes again.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's this episode's song from our album of the month. And the album in question is from Redlands, California band Camper Van Beethoven, their debut album from 1985. 40 years old it is now. The album is called Telephone Free Landslide Victory, and that was track 5 from it. Oh no. And hopefully we will not be echoing those thoughts after the big game on Saturday, as the Whitecaps finally get to take to the pitch in their Western Conference semi-final against LAFC. Cannot wait. We've had to, of course. It's been a very, very long wait for this game to come round. The 3 weeks off feels like it's been 3 months. It kind of really has. I think everyone at this point is just itching to get back to the action, get this game played, see how it plays out, and hopefully, from the Whitecaps' point of view, continue what has been an absolutely amazing and historic 2025 so far. So the wait is almost over, and the excitement is definitely building across the city and also across the league as well. This is a matchup so many people around the league, pundits, fans, just anyone with an interest in the league, have wanted to see in the playoffs. Yes, for a big chunk of that, it's because of the Muller versus Son matchup in it. But there's so many other storylines with it as well. And for those of you that subscribe to the AFTN Extra podcasts, we brought one of those out on Friday, I think it was. All the days are kind of blurring into one now. As the start of our kind of build-up to the Whitecaps LAFC semi-final. In that extra podcast, we brought you a media roundtable that we had with Maurice Edu, MLS match analyst, who's going to have the call for that game at BC Place on Saturday, as well as Dax McCarty, MLS 360 studio analyst. They set the game up, talked about all the implications and all the storylines kind of from it, what they're expecting, the Muller-Son stuff, and a lot more as well. So if you haven't subscribed to our extra podcast, go and remedy that. Head along to aftn.ca or co-fi.com/AFTN Canada, and you can subscribe to those extra podcasts. $30 a year, $3 a month, or you can become a gold or silver member on Ko-Fi. And big thanks to our gold subscribers, Cade Strelaw and Gib Van Aert. It was a really good chat we had with Dax and Mo to set up the Whitecaps LAFC game, so definitely check out that extra podcast. We'll bring you a little bit as a kind of teaser in this part from the two of them as well, just chatting about the game. So the Whitecaps will be aiming to reach the MLS Western Conference final for the first time in the club's history. They've been to this semi-final stage twice, lost to Seattle, lost to Portland. Two very underwhelming performances. The Timbers game in 2015, we've talked about that on the show a lot, still really, really rankles me because I think that could have been the year that we could have got to the MLS Cup final. The Sounders in 2017 was just not great performances from the team either. Both of those under Robbo. It's been a long wait to get back to the semi-final stage, never mind anything else. So if we can get to the final, it would be another momentous milestone in a historic season for the club. Both teams are going to come into the game fairly well rested. We'll kind of come to that a little bit more later in this part. But let's kick off our look ahead to the big game on Saturday with some audio from Whitecaps head coach Jesper Sorensen, talking about the wait, the history between these two clubs in the playoffs, and what we can expect. Here's the gaffer.
Is it killing you like it's killing everybody else that's taking so long to get to this match? It's just like, let's go.
Yeah, but you know, it's no, we just prepare and but not overthink things too much. Also because we have a long time in between the games. We know how we want to play and how we usually play, and that's what brought us here. Now we just have to tune the last details in, so we be having the best possible strategy for the game.
Is your greatest challenge for this 3 period just keeping the guys sharp?
Yeah, maybe. Of course, it's a long time where you really are waiting a little bit for the game coming up, but also you have some opportunities to also work on some things that you might not have had that much time to do during the season. So yeah, I don't think it's the biggest challenge, but of course we can't go at it every day and train like it's a game every day. So we have to balance it a little bit out.
The LAFC Whitecaps playoff rivalry, I'm sure you've seen it, you know all about it, but you're new to this. You don't have the baggage that's maybe coming from the previous 2 campaigns. Do you talk to the players about the past and how they felt, or clean slate?
No, I don't. We don't talk about what happened because it's a long time ago. If we talk about this season, we played LAFC twice. And we've done okay, and yet it's still a different team because Son came in from them since we played them last time, and Thomas also came in from us, and both players made a mark on both teams. So I think it's always new, and we're not talking about what happened. I was not part of it. A lot of players was not part of it, and we just prepare for a game against a very, very good team.
I was going to say, with everything that has happened in the past, even this season, this feels like 2 completely different teams now anyway. Obviously all the focus is on Son v Muller, but does that not then allow other players that you're maybe not expecting to go kind of flying under the radar a little bit and shine in this one?
Yeah, it's not our focus. Our focus is, of course, that we have a strong team, and we see that players. We have a lot of players that can do a lot of exciting things and also do things on their own. And yeah, I think there's plenty of players on both teams that can really make a mark in this game, and I think that it should be exciting for everybody to watch this game, because there's a lot of good players on the pitch. There's 2 very good teams, and we just have to play it out.
You spoke after the Dallas game about the home crowd and the atmosphere. Even more for this one. We've had it before here this year already with that Miami game. How excited does it make you when you come out as a coach and you see all those fans in the crowd? Do you feel the added pressure, or does it give you that bump?
No, of course it's not added pressure. It's just really joy that we've been able to create an atmosphere where people want to go to the game. I think in all fairness, we have to say that the game against Miami also. A big chunk of the crowd maybe came to see a couple of guys from Miami. Yeah, I really have the feeling that everybody's coming out for us, and I think that's. I'm really happy for that, because I think the players deserve it. I think they've done really well, and I also think that we want to pay back on the pitch, and if we can create this around the playoff games, then I think it's just it's worth all the hard work we do on a daily basis throughout the season.
When you arrived to where you are now, when you're wandering around the city, are you seeing more love for the team? Do you see that there's more Whitecaps memorabilia around, or jerseys or flags or whatever?
Yeah, I would say I do, yeah. I see kids around with Whitecap shirts, and I also see people have some, it could be a hat or it could be something that indicates that they're now Whitecaps. And maybe I didn't see it that much in the beginning. Maybe it's just a feeling, but yeah, I do.
He's the gaffer. You can't try it on with him. He's the gaffer. Even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer. When his back's against the wall, has the answer to it all.
The gaffer, Jesper Sorensen there, and what Jesper's done for this club since coming in January, it's been momentous. And I know I'm using that word a lot in this part, but I mean, it has been. It has just been an incredible season. No matter how Saturday plays out, still so proud of the team, and it has been a highly successful season, but we want more. The city wants more. And as touched upon to Jesper there, like since he's come in at the start of the year, albeit he had to then immediately leave to go to Spain, but since he's come back really in February, he's seen the growth of this team on the pitch and the support of the team off the pitch. And I think everyone has. If you look around the city, There's more people wearing Whitecaps gear, jerseys, hats, jackets, whatever. Folk are talking about it. If people see you, like I go out a lot with the Whitecaps took on, and I've had more conversations about the Whitecaps this year than I can remember in any other year, covering the team and the team being in MLS. Folk are talking about it on TV shows, radio shows. There's definitely a buzz about this team just now. It does feel like the city has really fallen in love with this team, and it's great to see. It's also great to see how quickly this game sold out, and I know a lot of it is because of the big Muller-Son matchup. There's going to be, sadly, as we touched on the last time, a lot of touts that's bought tickets to try and make a quick buck on this, but there's going to be a crowd of just shy of 54,000 out for this one. It's going to be the second biggest crowd of the season, 53,837 headed along to BC Place in April for that first leg of the Inter Miami CONCACAF Champions Cup semi-final. Big 2-0 win for the Whitecaps that day. And as we've talked about in the show, a lot of folk were there to see Messi. And yes, they cheered Messi on, but they left Whitecaps fans. And the hope is, if there's folk just coming for the occasion, if there's a Korean population coming to the game to cheer on Son, we hope that they do that. They get to see their hero, they enjoy what they see from their hero, but not too much. And they also leave as Whitecaps fans. And everyone there wants to come back for more Whitecaps action. It could be the last home game of the season. We'll kind of see how things play out in the other semi-final 2 days after. This will be the third 50,000 plus crowd for the Whitecaps in their MLS era. They also got just over 51,000 when Miami came in May 2024 in that farcical event where all their big guns didn't come up. But yeah, screw them. So it's the first game not featuring Miami that we've had over 50,000. We already saw just over 32,000 in the round 1, game 1 playoffs this year on October 26th for that 3-0 win over FC Dallas. Anyone that was out at that game, we talked about it on the show, such an amazing occasion. And the flags that fans got at that Dallas game will be allowed in to this one. So I checked with the club, you can get those in, that's not an issue. There's also going to be rally towels handed out to everyone in attendance as well. And it's going to be a massive crowd. If you go all the way back in the Whitecaps history, going back to the NASL days, they got just over 60,000 in the first ever game at BC Place against Seattle on June 20th, 1983. 56,255 against Montreal Manic on July 20th, 1983. So this is shaping up to be the fourth biggest crowd in the Whitecaps history. And that's just amazing. What I want to see is the players run out and it's just a sea of white. The rally towels, white jerseys, the flags waving. I mean, if the club really want to buy into it, I recommend digging out the Pixies song Into the White and have the players run out into the white. I just think that would be such a striking thing. That song also builds up as well and would be a really good one to have. But yeah, it's fantastic to see. Jesper's noticed a change in the city, and it's not the only one. I put that to Tristan Blackmon as well this week at training. So I'll bring you a little bit of audio now from Tristan chatting about that, his own fitness levels, and the game itself. This rivalry with LAFC in the postseason, it's the third year now of it. Are you just sick of seeing them in the playoffs, or is there still a lot that you need to kind of show what you're about against this team?
Yeah, I think obviously we want to go out there and get the win. I don't know if we have to, prove to anybody but ourselves. We've seen them a lot the past few years, like you said, and we're feeling confident going into this matchup. They have great players, but so do we. So we're looking forward to focusing on ourselves and how we can capitalize against them.
Everything from the past kind of is out the window now. Anyway, it's two different teams. As you say, they've got good players. We've got great players here as well. How do you see this playing out? Do you think it's going to be cagey, or is this two teams that can't be cagey and you're just going to go for it?
I know we're going to go for it. I'm sure they are as well. I don't know what that looks like, but I know we're going to try to play, our football the way we've been playing all year. They're going to come out. Obviously, they're a really good counter-attacking team. They've shown that, especially since Son has arrived in the league. But yeah, we're working to focus on ourselves and how we can use our advantages with the players we have to go up against them and come out on top. So.
You had the big crowd for the Miami game, and you were on the pitch for that. You took it in from the side in the last game against Dallas. Full house for this one. As a player, when you run out and you see that many folk in the crowds and hopefully all the flags and everything again, does that just give you an extra buzz? Yeah,
of course. I think anybody who's watched sports, their whole life has seen what, they call it the 12th man, can do for you. So I think the game against Dallas home, too, was incredible. Obviously, I was in the stands for that, but just to see the city come together and what that looked like in the stands, I can only imagine what that feels like on the pitch. Obviously, I got a glimpse of that against Miami this year, which was really special. So hopefully we can have another night with the fans that is really special. So.
You've been here now for a number of years, so you've seen what the local community's like with this team. Yeah. Does it feel different this year? Does it feel the city's now really fallen in love with this club?
Yeah, obviously I don't want to speak for any of the fans, but I think we feel for sure that this year things have come together more than maybe a few years ago when I got here. And I know I've said it in the media, and I think Seba has as well, but we made it an inside joke, but also a goal of ours to make sure that when you walk through the airport, in Vancouver, there's going to be Whitecaps merch by the time we're both not here anymore. And I think last trip when we went to Dallas, obviously I didn't play, but we were walking through there and there's some flags in there now. So it's just little wins like that I think you take pride in. I think the city's done a really good job this year of being behind us. Obviously, when the team is doing well, everybody knows it's easy to get behind, but even in the little blips we've had this year, I think the team has done well to bounce back, and the city has always been behind us. So, I think everything's coming together pretty nicely.
Tristan Blackmon there, and I tell you, it's great to have him ready to go for this one. No official confirmation that he can start, but he's fully training. So I expect him to be in the middle of the defence for this game. And we need him. Most definitely do. The fact that he's even back at all, when you look at how bad that injury was when he went down in that Canadian Championship semi-final second leg at home to Forge, 82nd minute. I mean, it looked so bad at the time. We brought you audio from him in a recent show as well, just talking about he knew right away it didn't feel like other injuries that he's had, and ended up missing 6 regular season games, 2 games in the playoffs so far, but he's back, he's ready to go, and that is a huge boost to the Whitecaps, because we need our top defenders out there. They're going to be going up against one of the most potent strike force duos in all of MLS right now in Son and Bouanga. Who he'll partner, of course, is the big question in that. Will it be Ralph Priso? Will it be Matthias Laborda? Will Matty take on the left-back role? Will we see Bilal Halbouni continue in the middle of the defence? It's all good stuff. You want to have those selection headaches and have a full team to pick from. And also at the other end of the park, we're going to get Brian White back as well, which is absolutely tremendous. Daniel Rios has been kind of struggling a little bit with a calf strain. So having Brian White good to go, and he will be good to go. He's been managing his minutes. He's been kind of on the pitch, doing maintenance in the gym. But basically, from Thursday last week, taking part in full training, and he feels he can go 120 minutes in this game if needed. And he's had a couple of these niggly hamstring problems this year. In the St. Louis game on August 23rd, he kind of felt something go, got taken off, missed the next 2 league games against Philly and KC, as well as the Canadian Championship semi-final, second leg against Forge. But he came back, played against Portland, half an hour, got a goal. Played against Seattle, 33 minutes, got a goal. But then had to go back off, and you're like, was he brought back too soon? Missed the last 3 regular season games, missed the 2 playoff games against Dallas. But we were told he was going to be back, but there was that worry, is this going to be a recurrent injury? Now, the good news is he spoke this week, where if you saw his kind of presser that he did on Wednesday, it's not the same injury that he had, it's just a different kind of tweak. So that's the good sign. But I got a chance to chat with Brian after he did his presser on Wednesday, just one-on-one, just to talk about his journey back, this rivalry with LAFC, and what we can expect from this game on Saturday. So Brian, good to see that you're back, you're ready to go for this game. It's been tough for you, I'm sure, watching everything play out so far. You just itching to get back now?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you're out with an injury, it's difficult to watch. Not because you don't trust the guys, because I had complete trust that they were going to get the results, and they did. It's just you want to be out there, you want to be involved, you want to help the team, and so it's been difficult to watch from the inside. Through the windows and watch training and in the stands, but I'm just looking forward to being out there again.
You were saying it's a different injury to some of the other ones that you've had this year. Is it 4 hamstring injuries this year, or is it 3?
I don't think. I think I've had experience in Miami. There was a bit of tightness. I don't think those were really described as injuries.
Right. Okay.
It's. At least 2, these last 2. But yeah, definitely just something that happens when you play a lot of games, a lot of travel.
I think myself and some of the fans are worried it might be a long-term thing, but there's no concerns about that for you.
No, I don't think it's something that is a long-term thing. I just got into these things kind of happen in sports, where you come back and then I think if we try to prevent it, you come back, you're so focused on one thing, and then other things misaligned and something else happens. So I think that's kind of what had happened in this situation. So it's just something you'll have to be cognizant of going forward and make sure I do everything I can to stay as limber and stretched out as possible.
3 weeks between the games, which from a club point of view is fantastic because you can come back. Tristan's got more time to come back. It feels like this is the longest 3 weeks ever. Everyone's just waiting for this game now.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's such an exciting game in the moment. There's going to be a lot of fans, so everyone's just like, let's just go. It's going to be another long 10 days now or something to the game. And, I think everyone's just excited to get out there.
Obviously, LA's got Buanga and Son, but we've got Ryan, yourself, and Thomas. It's a mouth-watering matchup that I think everyone in the league wanted at some point this year. We've got it at semi-final. It does feel that it's like a final. It's got this kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I think it's a big game. It's obviously a team that's gotten the better of us in these kind of competitions in years past, and it's the playoffs. Everything's we're past the first round, and everything's kind of a big game. Every win you get, you can kind of see a little closer to that final trophy. So yeah, it's a big game, but it's going to be a really tough test against a really good team.
I was wanting to speak to you because you're one of the guys that's been through it the last couple of years. The last 2 best-of-3 series, heartbreaking. This is a one-off, though. And last year you showed you can get a win in the playoffs, which for a rivalry, if one team's not winning, it's not really a rivalry.
Yeah.
How big was that, getting that result last year? I know ultimately it didn't work, but getting that win showing, look, we can beat this team in the playoff.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's kind of been like a big brother beating up on little brother, and sometimes, and it feels like we, maybe owe them something. But yeah, I think we have a very confident team. We believe in what we do. We know obviously that they're a good team as well. But I think when we're at our best, we can beat a team on any given day. It's just a matter of can we be our best on Saturday, and hopefully we can be better than them.
I think everything else in the past goes out the window because it's 2 different feeling teams just now. Is that how you guys are approaching it?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're definitely a different team than we have been in the past. Obviously, we added Thomas, and that's an additional player that we've never had before. And I think it's brought us to a whole nother level. So I think definitely we're a different team than we were in the past, and hopefully we can show it on the game.
You played in that Miami game here with a 50,000+ crowd. It's going to be another one. How special are those moments? I mean, you weren't on the pitch for the last game with the flags and everything. That was immense. This feels like it's going to be even more so.
Yeah, like I said, these are the kind of games you live for as a player. To have the fans, 50,000 fans as of now, and to have them all, into the game, invested, and their support pushes us forward, helps us out in tough times, and really makes those, the goals and the wins even more special. So hopefully we can have a moment like that.
Into the white. Into the white.
Brian White there. And I mean, it's great to have Brian and Tristan good to go for this. Everyone seems fit, healthy, good to go. We're also going to have a well-rested Ali Ahmed back after being sent off 5 minutes into Canada's game with Ecuador on Thursday. Suspended for the game on Tuesday against Venezuela. And fantastically, Jesse Marsh has let Ali head back to Vancouver to train with the Whitecaps. He's aware that there's a big game coming up, wants him here, wants the Whitecaps to do well, so that's fantastic as well. We've also had the benefit of Andres Cubas training with the team last week, not heading off to play for Paraguay against the US. Thankfully, considering that ended up in a brawl towards the end of the game and you didn't want him involved in that. Just some visa issues for him, which, before anyone panics, it's not going to affect anything for the Whitecaps moving forward for any away games we've got. Just a couple of little things that had to get sorted out for Cubas. So great news from the Whitecaps point of view. And I spoke when we knew it was going to be LAFC about the travel that the big two for LAFC were going to have ahead of this game. Denis Bouanga over in the African semi-final playoffs as his team tried to get to the World Cup for the first time. That was played in Morocco, and a crazy game. I watched that, and it went to extra time. There was 15 minutes of stoppage time as well between the 90 minutes and the 30 minutes of extra time. Gabon sadly lost to Nigeria, but Denis Bouanga had to travel to Morocco, played 135 minutes, had the disappointment, and then has come back to LA. Now, obviously, he's going to have had a bit of rest since then. Not so much, though, for Son, who's had 2 games in Korea. One's already been played, one's coming up on Tuesday. So he's had to fly there. He's had to travel there. He'll have to travel back. There's the time difference that's involved in that as well, and flying back from Korea. So he's not going to get back to LA till late on Wednesday. Now, I'm thinking that might make him tired. And I'm just basing that on what I feel like when I travel, because I hate travelling. It's just, I find it so boring, and I'm not a happy flyer. I just get bored. I don't like being cooped up and cramped up, and it's different, of course, if you go in business class or first class, as I imagine Bouanga and Son have been travelling for this. But I mentioned at the top that if you subscribe to our extra podcast, you would have heard the full 50-minute media roundtable that we had with Dax McCarty and Maurice Edu as build-up to the Whitecaps LAFC game. Told you I'd bring you some snippets from that as a little taster to try and get you to subscribe to those. So I thought I'd bring you the 2 questions that I asked the guys. How they think this game might play out, but also, will these be travel issues and draining factors for Bouanga and Son? Here's what they had to say. Thanks, Dax. Thanks, Mo, for doing this. I think Mo might understand my accent with his time over in Scotland for a little bit. So let's start, I guess, with the the LAFC Whitecaps stuff. This is probably the matchup I think many at MLS wanted to see at some point in the postseason. They've got it now at a semi-final stage. All the focus is obviously on Muller v Son, but it does feel one of these kind of games that I think a player that no one's maybe expecting, or one of the guys that's not getting the attention, is going to come out to be the hero in this. What do you two guys expect from this? How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I mean, Dax, I'll hop in. I think, well, first of all, you're right. This is definitely one of the matchups you're always enticed to see, two top teams. And I also think there's been like a natural kind of organic rivalry that's been brewing over the last couple of years between LAFC and Vancouver, whether it's playing in the playoffs or playing just numerous games throughout the course of the season in various competitions. There's been like a little bit of a rivalry brewing. The key now is, can Vancouver start winning some of these games, some of these important games, being the real contender in these matchups? And apologies if it's kind of loud here. I'm in an interesting environment. But yeah, going into this matchup now, of course, it's two teams that have performed incredibly well. Manager situation is different, where Steve Reynolds on his way out. Jesper Sorensen has just come in. And I just think there's so many interesting storylines that play a role in how this is going to go. Now, of course, we always talk about in this league, you're kind of governed and your ceiling maybe revolves around how well your biggest players perform in these matches. So, of course, we're going to keep an eye on Luonga, Son, Mueller, et cetera, et cetera. But I also do think you're right. Something that Vancouver has shown over the course of this season is depth. Guys have had to step up on various occasions. Ralph Priest's playing as a center back at times, and they've still found ways to get results. So one of their strengths beyond Thomas Mueller coming in and amplifying them is just they're a well-rounded team. I think Sorensen introduced a system that allows players to plug in, whether it's due to injury or rotations, whatever that looks like, and they don't seem to miss a beat. Now they're going to be playing at home, sold-out crowd. How can they use that to their advantage will be very, very pivotal. But from an LAFC standpoint, Dax, before I pass it along, to me it's about, of course, leaning into the two top men, but also how can they be resolute on the road defensively? How can they, at times when they don't have the ball, how comfortable can they be without possession? And then really thrive in transition moments, which has been something that they've done incredibly well. I was also impressed with that second game in Austin, where they took a slightly more aggressive approach. They're playing three in that front line, Nathan O'Daz being that third piece. It's a subtle tweak, but it also is a subtle adjustment that kind of puts them in a more aggressive position and on the front foot, as opposed to just playing with two up front.
Yeah, Mo covered a good amount there. I'm really excited for the matchup. I think that these are two of the best teams in Major League Soccer. I think that it's an ideal way for them to meet in a high-stakes game in the playoffs. Full credit to Vancouver for getting the home field advantage by finishing higher up the table, which is why I think, especially in this playoff format right now, this year in 2025, we've seen the importance of how monumental that is to finish high in the regular season in terms of where you're finishing in the regular season. That for me has never been more clear than right now in these playoffs. There was only one quote unquote lower seed that advanced, NYCFC over Charlotte, and then the rest were all the favorites, all the teams higher up the table. So that for me is really, really important if you want to make a deep playoff run. And I think with Vancouver and with LAFC, they were both very good teams before the arrival of Son and before the arrival of Muller. And these two additions have put them both in the category of great teams, in my opinion. So when you have two great teams and when they meet in a high stakes game to be able to go to a conference final, you're expecting some of the highest quality that you can see in Major League Soccer. And so I think this break is going to do both teams a world of good. I know from a Vancouver perspective, being able to potentially get Tristan Blackmon back, being able to potentially get Brian White back, that is huge in terms of the final third quality that you get on the attacking side and then also on the defensive side. For LAFC, they're a team that's playing really well right now. Son has been, I think, slightly more electric than Thomas Muller. I think both of them have been tremendous, but The connection with Son and Bouanga, you have to talk about it. You have to start there because of how dangerous it is. I love the fact that Vancouver is one of the best defensive teams in the league. They get to go up against Son now because those are two of the most in-form attackers in the league, and then you get the second best defense in the league trying to stop them. It's going to be a tactical game where both coaches have to throw different types of options out there. But I agree with Mo when he says that LAFC, he liked how aggressive they were, throwing another attacker on the field, and Nathan Ordaz. I think that they have to do that again in Vancouver. Vancouver is going to control this game with possession. LAFC is more than happy to sit back in their block of 5 and look to hit on the counter. But Son and Bouanga against such a great team, it's going to be difficult for them, I think, with so much focus on them if they don't have another out-and-out attacker on the field to take some of the pressure off them. And so this is going to be, for me, one of the best games that we'll see in the playoffs. Every series is unique in its own way, but this series for me is unique in so many different ways with great coaching, great players, superstar players that are making a huge impact, and two teams that are really comfortable and secure in who they are. I'm really excited about the matchup.
A very quick one on just the travel for Son and Bouanga. You've both played internationally. You've had to come back and then play a league game right away. For Bouanga, he's just gone through over 120 minutes in Morocco. Son's got a game on Tuesday. How hard is it to come back from international duty, a long flight, and then be at your top level for a big game like this?
Michael, I really appreciate you lumping me in with the international footballers. You know, I got a measly 13 caps in my day. So
more than I do.
I do appreciate that, but you know, Mo can probably speak to that better than me, considering Mo also played in Europe for quite a long time and did some maybe transcontinental flights a little bit more often than I did. I don't really think it affects players these days as much. I just don't. I think with the way air travel is now, both of those guys are going to be able to fully recline, sleep in first class seats on the plane, be able to be provided good, healthy meals. The time difference will get you for sure. That's the one thing I can speak to, that it really does affect you a little bit, but it's not as if, you know, they're getting on these big flights and they only have a day or two to recover. They're still going to have, you know, they'll have 4 days, I believe, to be able to recover. My math could be off there, but I don't think with the level of professionalism that I see from these guys, I really don't see it being a huge issue with Son, with Bouanga, with Muller, with these guys that it's a routine, right? They get in a routine. They understand their bodies. They're all veteran players who understand what they need to do to be at the top level, right? And so I don't see it being a huge issue. I think they understand what they need to do to perform at the highest level. And so do their coaching staffs. That's the other thing. The other point is the staffs will realize they'll have all these gizmos and gadgets putting all over your chest, and they'll be able to understand exactly what's going on, how much recovery you need, sometimes to a detriment. I used to hate when they told me I needed to take it easy in training because my numbers were too high. I would say no. So I don't think it's going to affect these guys at all. I think they'll both be ready to go.
Yeah, no, I would just add to what Dax has said there. I think that the recovery mechanisms in place for players nowadays are incredible. And the other part is, this is the scenario you want to be in. You want to be playing international football. You want to be competing later stages of the playoffs. So is it difficult? Of course. But what isn't difficult? What reward comes without some level of difficulty and challenge? These players are built for this. They're more than embracing of these moments. And I have no concern that when the first whistle blows, every player on either side of the pitch will be more than prepared, ready, and up for the challenge that's in front of them. So, hey, listen, pressure and these challenges are a privilege. They're a privilege. And again, these players are deserving of these moments and these opportunities. I'm looking at my screen right now. I'm hoping that this rainbow means it's an omen for some good luck for me or something like that. But yeah, I'd end it on that note that these players will be ready for it. It's going to be an incredible game. We're all, as I mentioned, them having pressure and that being a privilege. We're privileged that we get to watch such a beautiful football match in what's going to be an incredible stadium packed with passionate fans. And yeah, it's MLS playoffs, man. I'm looking forward to it.
MLS on Apple TV studio analyst Dax McCarty and match analyst Maurice Edu there, just talking a little bit about Whitecaps LAFC. You can hear the whole media chat that we had with them by subscribing to the AFTN Extra podcasts. But yeah, I just give the little taster there. Zach, the two questions that I asked the guys, and the second one was about the travel of Son and Bouanga coming back from international duty.
Yeah.
Neither of them felt it would be an issue in the modern day because they said, oh, they'll be flying back first class, they'll get to stretch out. For Bouanga, unless LAFC are paying for him to be first class, I don't see Gabon paying for Bouanga to have first class travel. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine, I mean, he'll come back earlier anyway, but I still think for Son, he's playing on Tuesday. There's the time difference in Korea. You're getting back to LA after 2 grueling games and travel late on Wednesday. Then you're still flying up here as well. It's gonna hit him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the travel aspect, I would say Son probably more so than Bouanga.
Yeah,
has dealt with this in his career, playing in Europe and playing Champions League and Europa League, and then playing for obviously for the national team. So I think his familiarity with all that. I mean, we won't know until the game starts or after the game when we're like, yeah, he looked a little leggy.
Yeah,
or,
once Eddie or Campo goes through him in the first couple of minutes.
Well, that could make him.
That's when you really want to do it. I mentioned before that as well about Ali Ahmed being nice and fresh, returning to the Whitecaps. So we haven't touched on that, but what did you make his sending off on Thursday? First of all, I'd forgotten all about the game. I thought it was on Friday. So I missed it. And then I saw on Twitter he'd been sent off. I was like, wait, Canada's playing just now?
This seems like a pretty divisive one. I think you can, and I see both sides of it.
Yeah, so do I.
I would lean more to it's a sending off. Like, I think when you ultimately it's dangerous play or reckless play or whatever, whatever the correct wording is in the laws of the game. I'd love to hear Darnell's perspective on it, but I think he obviously, this requires Ali to have increased awareness. I mean, hopefully that's the one thing he learns from this, because he is unaware of how close the defender is to him. And I mean, all good players and I mean, this is something hopefully they're learning from, like a Thomas Muller, like awareness on the pitch, where everyone is and all that kind of stuff. But he's unaware where the defender is. And so as he's looking, the keeper playing with the ball or whatever, he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stretch out my leg and get on the end of this. And he's just not aware. On top of this, many, if not all, or most of the Canadians, I guess other than maybe the new guys, are experienced with dealing with games, CONCACAF style embellishment. I dare say that South American embellishment is a bit of almost another level.
Yes,
I know we deal with a lot in CONCACAF, and there's a lot to be frustrated about, but my take, and I haven't done all the historical research, is this is in the game because of South America and the type of embellishment, and you saw it on that play, and that's why I also think so many Canadians or so many people watching this game cheering for Canada feel hard done by, is because the embellishment makes you so frustrated that makes you want justice. When, a player grabs a part of their body where there obviously was no contact.
Yeah.
And it's very, very frustrating. But I still think, putting that to one side, I think Ali is unaware and reckless or it's dangerous play, and the referee is within his rights to send him off. And I know people are like, oh, 6th minute and I mean, a sending off is a sending off. And the upside,
the only thing is that it killed the whole game in terms of what both teams were hoping to get out of it.
Yeah, but totally. I know. But at the same time, if you're Canada, I know this is not their only experience like this, but you then experience, what is this happens in a group game in the World Cup?
Very true, because it does seem to happen to us a lot.
And the crazy thing is, they've come through, what is it, or almost 3 matches in a row with, is it 3 in a row with 0-0? The Australia was a 0. They lost one. No.
Yeah, they lost one.
They've let in so few goals, and they've they've stifled opponents from creating quality chances to such a high degree that I think this is hopefully a positive for them to build on. Because you'd rather build on, I mean, not rather, but it's nice to be able to build on a solid defense where you're then able to say, okay, now we just need to be a little more clinical in front of a goal or a little bit more sharp in creating our chances and all that kind of stuff. I think Jesse Marsch said after the game, or one of the things he said after the game is, I am used to being a coach who wins or loses 4-3. So to have all these like clean sheets and tight games and goalless draws is not really who I am. But on the upside, it's a testament to how well their defense is. And Michael, the other thing about this, and I know we're not meant to be talking about this game, but it's crazy that this clean sheet happens down a man with Joel Waterman and Kamal Miller as the center backs. Right? So again, it's hopefully proof that Canada's defense can be solid no matter who's back there. And both those guys are obviously fighting for a place on the squad.
They did well. I think that was one of Waterman's best games in a Canadian jersey.
Totally. And they I think they have some time together in Montreal. So they have some chemistry.
Of course, yeah.
They have some chemistry. It's nice. One's right-footed, one's left-footed. I know from AFC and FIFA over the years, Joel is not fleet of foot. Kamal, I don't think is crazy slow, but also not crazy fast. He's no Bombito. But I think they did really, really, really well in the game. And so, yeah, if Bombito's not ready to go, or this Alfie Jones experiment doesn't work out, or whatever, right there, it's really good to know that some of these guys are saying, "Hey, Jesse, I'm here. I want to be in the team. I want minutes. I'm going to do all that I can. Sure, I'll play down a man and show you that I can help get us a clean sheet." I think there's a lot of positives to pull from this. Obviously, the majority of people, again, moving even further away from the red card, the majority of people are frustrated at the lack of goal scoring. I know in this game, a lot of people I know are just like, we need Promise David. And it's like, well, he's promised this is not you're not going to, when you go down a man, 6 minutes in, you're not going to bring on Promise David, like you probably plan to or whatever. I hope he'll get some time. I mean, maybe in this next match he'll get some time, or maybe he'll start or whatever. Tanny, I think, Tanny was not great for Tanny. This was not as much as this was good for the defenders. It was not a good moment for Tanny. Failed to take his chance or whatever, and. Yeah, I think I would definitely have personally. I would best thing have David and David if I could on the pitch. But anyways, yeah, red card. I think
we've moved away from that. So it's good that Ali's back is rested.
Yeah, and yeah, for your Whitecaps, I know you were super stoked that.
I was. I had to double check that he was going to be suspended because I was like, friendlies, are they going to have a weird rule and he's going to be able to play?
So he does get suspended.
Definitely suspended. And Jesse Marsch said he can fly back and train with the Whitecaps because he knows they have a big game coming up. So it's like tremendous.
Good for him. Yeah. No, that's good all around.
Just to wrap up the LAFC Whitecaps chat, what's your prediction? Big crowd.
Massive
game.
Massive game. This is really one that could go either way. I think with the Whitecaps getting the home field advantage in a one-off, they have to be favored to win something like 2-1. But I could see LAFC doing something like like a 3-2 kind of victory. So I could see this one going either way.
It's so interesting because the Whitecaps are now a team that want the ball.
Yeah.
And LAFC are a team that's like, we don't want the ball.
Yeah.
So Whitecaps are going to dominate the possession in this. It's whether they can find their way through. And there's been some struggles against the likes of Dallas, as we've seen, to do that. Orlando as well. If they can get the early breakthrough, Whitecaps are going to go on and win this. No worry about that at all. The longer it's 0-0, or if they fall behind, I think it's going to be a tough one for them.
I think it's going to, and you just talk about all this stuff, but I think this is the biggest test for Jesper. Yeah. How he's able to use what he has available, and he will know best what they're really able to do, how long they're able to go, all that kind of stuff. I think this is
pretty much full strength. Like Ryan Gall's not going to be able to start, but what an option to have off the bench.
Oh yeah.
Ryan can probably go an hour. He thinks he can go 120 minutes. So,
but that's what I mean. Jesper's going to know what they really can do, and he's going to the decisions he makes around all of that are really, I think, what's going to determine this game. And he's either the Whitecap season is going to end and people are going to be like, no, the wrong decisions were made, or the wrong person was brought off at the wrong time or on at the wrong time, or he's going to look the genius and everyone's going to be like, look, he really does know this team. He really does know how to get the best out of them, both the seemingly starters and the seeming, subs. And it's going to be a fantastic evening of football at BC Place. Congratulations to the Whitecaps for selling it out. I think this is the earliest sellout I've ever seen at BC Place, other than maybe Canada-Mexico World Cup qualifying, where like for so many, it's a week ahead that sold out or whatever, right? And
they kept adding tickets, and now it's like, no, they've all gone now, because there was holds for LAFC supporters and for like players' tickets, and Mark DeSantis usually brings about 20 people up with him and stuff like that. So it's going to be a great occasion. I can't wait. Everyone can't wait. And I tell you someone else that can't wait. Whitecaps club reporter, Sarita Patel. And we sit down with Sarita. First time we have a big in-depth chat with her on the show. We have a lot of them at training all the time. But we'll be back with that after the first of 2 Britpop songs this episode.
Hi, I'm Ryan Gold, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the first of 2 Britpop songs this episode, as we really start to wind down our tribute to the Britpop era. Only got a couple more weeks of Britpop songs to bring you the 30-year anniversary of Britpop. We started it in the latter shows of 2024, continued it all year, and we've got 2 more songs to bring you this episode. The first one you heard there, released on November 20th, 1995, entering the UK charts at number 82 in the November 25th charts. It's from London band Powder, led by lead singer Pearl Lowe. And the band only released 3 singles in their existence, all in 1995. All of them have featured on the show this year in this segment as well. And that was the last of the 3, Deep Fried. And it was a very short one and done career really for the band. Lead singer Pearl Lowe is now an acclaimed fashion designer. She had a brief solo career and another brief spell with another band as well. She's married to Danny Goffey from Supergrass, a real Britpop power couple, as we've talked about on the show before. But yeah, Powder, deep fried, and we'll be back with another Britpop song to kick off the next part of the show. But we're going to get back to the football chat now, and it's time for this episode's feature interview. I'm going to sit down for a chat with somebody that I have planned to have on the show for a long time. For some reason, we've never got her on the show. And, I mean, part of it is she is so busy herself with all the stuff that she does with the Whitecaps. This year, busy doing stuff for NSL. I'm talking, of course, about Whitecaps reporter Sarita Patel. So welcome to the show for the very first time, Sarita.
Thank you so much. I guess, a crazy monster year like this, I get on the show and I'm so excited.
Well, yes. And I mean, let's kick off right away. How much fun has this year been?
Incredible. It's been a long season. I think about the day that we had latest report and being in market and just not knowing what the season was going to hold. And that was early January, and now it's late or mid-November here, and it doesn't feel like we've been going that much, but it also feels like a very big year.
Yes. I've joked in the past that my birthday my birthday's next week, but it's like we're never going when it's my birthday, and it's like, oh, this is nice.
You get a little birthday gift for yourself.
Yes. Well, my birthday's on Tuesday, and it's Scotland-Denmark, so the big birthday gift I want is Scotland beating Denmark, getting to the World Cup. And and then I'll speak to Jesper on Wednesday, and we'll see how that goes. But no, I mean, it's been an incredible year. What we'll do over the course of this, we'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff this year, but we'll also talk a little bit about your own kind of personal journey to get to this stage as well. Because a lot of girls are now looking to get into soccer journalism.
Yeah.
And there's never been too many things apart from, if you're the attractive blonde on TSN or something like that. But people like yourself have kind of cut a trail doing good stuff. And it's like, I think a lot of people are going to BCIT or media school here, and it's hard for them to see where the job opportunities are because the industry's been gutted.
Totally. It's one of those things that when I went to a school called College of Sports Media. So it was a very specific school on sports broadcasting, radio and television. That's what it was called. And when I was in school, our success rate, I think I was the 8th year there. So 8 years of this program, and it was 85% of the people who went through this program had a current job in the sports landscape. Again, that is in Toronto. So Toronto has more teams. That's where the television stations such as Sportsnet and TSN live. But also when I graduated, and even in my first year, we had opportunity at places like Rogers TV, community networks that existed based on volunteering, and all this helped me so much because it had the production value of I don't want to say it's not real because it was real, but there was camera operators, there was a switcher, a director, a producer, your hosts, even makeup artists. It's actually so funny that I got my makeup done there more than I got my makeup done by any other profession was at Community Network. So going there and making my mistakes, but not big mistakes, but getting the nerves off my chest. Oh, there's 3 cameras and I'm speaking to nothing and in a studio environment. It got me so much more comfortable and it allowed me to be who I was and find my path. Because I believe when I started, like you said, the TSNs and the Sportsnets, they kind of had not a cookie cutter, but most of the people who were on there, especially females, I feel like you had to be loud and have a really raspy voice, here we are covering football, right? And you're like, oh.
Yeah,
So
I've joked to my wife about like the raspy voices because I do like a girl with a raspy voice, and it's like everyone seems to have that spot you had to break in. So I
yeah,
thought we'd talk about your journey and then Whitecap stuff as well,
totally
because like you're so natural doing
appreciate it.
stuff, and it's like I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass here. I think I've said this to your face. You're so personable, and you're the best person that Whitecaps have
Oh,
had doing this, and in the whole time that they've had folk doing
oh my goodness. Nathan Van Stone, if you are listening right now,
it. I'll
please.
cut this bit and send it to.
Yeah,
He's
like
always everywhere listening. He's probably listening somewhere to
I
this.
think my computer is bugged with him listening in anyways. But
Right.
no, I think I got the best piece of advice from Jim Van Horn, who was one of my instructors. So my instructors at College of Sports Media were one of those that were still either in the industry or recently removed, or somebody who's a legend. So like Jim Van Horn, legend of sports desk at TSN, and he knew my ups and downs. And like that, like you have said off the top, like it is not only a male-dominated sports field, it is prominently white. Unfortunately, it's just
Yes.
the way that the world was when I was in the industry, that there weren't a lot of colored people, and when they were, it was very like, oh, you'll cover cricket and basketball? Is that okay for you? Those two sports? So it's very like you had to choose something that was urban or choose something that was like I don't know. So I feel like I was very self-conscious. There's only 5 girls in my program, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not this." And then he was like, "It doesn't matter what you look like, what you like. It is more about what you know." So he's like, knowing your knowledge and who you are. He's like, you won't be able to fake being a certain type of person. Like when the mic's on, you're not gonna be like, all right, here we go. The mic is on. He's like, you're gonna be caught in those situations where you just have to speak and you don't want to be two different people. You want to be authentically yourself. And when you're authentically yourself, you don't have to think, okay, how does my voice sound? How does my hair look? It's all just you. So it's just being natural. And I think that was the best piece of advice I got, was just be who you are. And confidence grew just by practice. So I don't find myself confident, but then when I meet people, they're like, you command a room or you're confident. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, am I? I sometimes have to second guess myself, but it was a process of me trying and trial and error, and then finding out that I have a pretty good, decent personality. And like you said, my dream in this world is, I think everybody has a story. It doesn't mean an athlete. It means everybody on this moving rock has a story. And I get so interested of like, how did you find this thing, or where did you learn that thing? And it's usually, I traveled here one time, or my mom taught me this. And it's so great to hear people's stories and then, make it your own when you're talking about someone, and learn from that.
Because that's what I love doing on the show. I love doing the player interviews, and I love doing the in-depth ones, because if you stick a mic under a player when they're coming off the pitch, they don't want to talk. And even at training, you're going to get very basic stuff. But if you sit down for 15, 20 minutes, and I know I drive Nathan crazy because my 15, 20 minutes end up longer with a lot of these, but I think they want to tell their stories if they feel comfortable. And that's what it's all about. I've been seeing a debate on Twitter this week about, should players be more open in their interviews and stuff? And everyone's like, no one wants to hear from the players. I think they do if you do it right.
I agree. And I think people are falling back. I think they're falling away from what it used to be. So what it used to be was that's your only pocket into getting to know the player. It was when media went and spoke to them. Nowadays, social media allows the player to have kind of control of their narrative. So some people are like, oh, I already see too much of blank and blank. But it's not about that. That's their more personal life. And they're only showing you what they want to show you. But I feel like when you have the right interviewer, like yourself, or when I talk to them, it's pulling questions. It's pulling something that they might have not thought of. Because when you're taught media training, it's like, it's to be authentically you, but it's also like make sure you're following a path. You know, like if they're asking you a question about, you know what the questions are going to be after training. How was training? What da 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 da. It seems very cookie cutter. So even the answers are going to be cookie cutter. We always say, you know, in hockey, it's, you know, pucks in deep, play a full sing. It's all like the cliches that come out. So in any sport, it's going to feel like it's redundant, the same questions, the same questions. But like you said, when you sit down with them and you go, hey, what's your favorite meal you've ever had? And then they're like, oh, my mom one time made this one thing, and then it clicks back into a story that somehow started from what was your favorite meal, and they don't know how they got there, but it's a good question. Even if it's like a low ball question, they drop their shoulders a little, they get a little bit more comfortable, and they feel a little bit more like, oh, this isn't a 1v1 and they're going to take my words out of context and da 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 da. It's more like, oh, this person just wants to get to know me, and then they open up, and if you open up, they open up. Because you have to be vulnerable too. You can't be the only one being like, I'm going to ask you 20 questions and I'm not going to answer thing. I'm a robot, right? So because then that would be like, if I emailed these guys these questions, they're going to respond the same way, right? So having that human interaction, and I feel like people don't understand that, like, also sometimes players don't want to be in control of their own narrative. Maybe they want someone to be like, ask me this so it doesn't sound like I'm boasting myself up. Like, especially like one of those clips I can think about, I know I'm going a little off topic here, but Marshawn Lynch, he played for Seahawks and they had him mic'd up or something, and they're like, oh, do you want to come over to play video games or something? He's like, oh no, I have to go give out turkeys back in the hood. So where he came from in Oakland, he goes and gives out turkeys for Thanksgiving to those less fortunate. That was picked up over a mic. And he's not going to be like, hey guys, I'm going to Oakland and I'm going to go. It's not him. But because that was naturally picked up, you see what kind of person he is. It's not selfish. It's not in a way that he's like, look at me, look at me. Somebody's like, oh my gosh, I just picked that up, and he's okay with us sharing it. And that's the human side of Marshawn Lynch. So I feel like those things that we have a privilege, but we also have to know that that comes with a lot of power. Because sometimes, as you know, when you come to training, it's very loose here. It's very like they're having fun. So sometimes if something happens, like if a guy on the pitch says something like funny, but they don't want that to be on the record, we have to respect that, right? Like if it's something that they're making, you know, fun of a TV show that they didn't like, we can't be like, oh, he doesn't like this TV show. That's our privilege to hear it, but we have to also respect their space, right?
Yes, and I know we're going way off topic here. I won't mention the media person. Folk will probably have seen this, but it's a media person in a different market had complained about the lack of access and how players won't talk and everything like that. And everyone jumped on that. And it's like, but not every market's the same, because we have got like what the Whitecaps allow us to do. And I don't, by us, I mean all of us media, it's very loose. And I don't think folk fully appreciate the access that we have here. And it's so different to elsewhere in MLS, so different to over in Europe. And I think everyone respects it. And we've got some of the best stories that come out, I think, across the league.
I agree. Even people that I know that have joined us recently and have worked in other places, they're amazed at how much access we get to the players. And that's at like for me, I think at every level. I get into work at 8 a.m. I see them from the moment they walk into NSTC. I see them having breakfast. I see them right before they go into a team meeting. I'm allowed in that team meeting if I want to be. And that's like completely closed doors, right? So that is, okay, that's a personal thing because I work for the club. But for you guys, I feel like I see it as like when I'm watching Nathan, who's my boss, who goes, whoever needs access, we have to find the right, fit when we can. We'll, make it available. But like right off the start of the week, it'll be like, okay, this is when we're training. Let me know if you're coming. And I love that. I love having that ability for anybody. Because if I was in your shoes, for example, on the other side, it's nice to know that in any day, if I wanted to be like, hey, I'm just going to go to training today. And you know what? I thought about this. It's nice that access is available instead of being like, oh, shoot, I should have put in a request like a week ago, or like, oh, that availability was only on Wednesday and today's Thursday. I missed my window. I feel like that restriction, I feel like doesn't allow us to tell the stories of the players, but then also doesn't give an advantage to the players as well, because something big could happen. A player could have had a baby. A player could have, had something that it's so fresh now. When Tristan won Defender of the Year, you don't want to wait a week to talk to him. You
Yeah.
want to talk to him right away, right? Like, get those emotions, get those raw thought processes of like what he's thinking and how he's like, whatever. But like, I feel like, yeah, we are lucky, because even when I'm on the road, I hear that like, oh, you guys are like so in depth with your media notes, and you're so like, we see so much stuff online from other media outlets of your players. And I was like, well, I would hope so. Like, I would hope we get that, because nowadays it's not like, oh, you're going to turn on TSN or Sportsnet and they're going to have a packaged piece, because that's the way of the world now. It's multimedia, which is online, and that's the way that you're going to get the stories.
So you talked about being on the road, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because, I mean, if you're not as close to the team and you get to see it from the media side, it's so grueling, because you're flying by charter now, which isn't as grueling as just having to be at the main airport and wait for flight cancellations and delays. But it means you're flying right back after games. You're working on little sleep. Congratulations on your engagement. We'll say that now. But it must make it difficult as well to see your partner, because during the week, you're like so busy. And then you're like flying off the day before a game, and you're flying back and you want to catch up with sleep. How tough is that?
I feel like this is my 5th season, and I feel like I've kind of gotten into a groove. Like, it makes sense, but to other people from the outside in, it does look like a lot. But we're really lucky in a sense that during training, on training days, you start early around like 8:30. Training is, mid-morning, and then lunch is around like 1:30, 2 o'clock. So as long as I've wrapped up the day and I've got most of my day done, I can leave early. So I try to catch up on those days where, okay, I leave at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, where I don't have to stay until 5. Like, it's not like one of those jobs where it's like 9 to 5, you must clock in and must clock out, which is good mentally as well. Just doing like what feels like a half day or whatever you can get done in that time period. But for travel, yes, it does seem like a lot. And the charter, it is nice. You do have to go to the main terminal from here, but then having the plane right there, and then you get your own row, so you kind of get into like, okay, I'm row 7 on the left side, and you put your bag down, and they give us some food from Joe and the Juice, and you're like eating your food, drinking and then you land by then, and you're like, okay, it's only been like 2 hours. You're in wherever, other than like going to the east side when it's like 5 or 6 hours. But you plan ahead, bring a book or bring your Nintendo Switch, and you kind of have fun with it on the plane there. And then when we land, it's like muscle memory. We help take the luggage off, we get to the hotel, we unload, and then we have dinner, and then you just get into your bed and you fall asleep. And then the day of the game, that's the monster day. That's the day when you wake up early-ish, like 8 or 9, you go for the breakfast, you go for, activation and then snack, and then you go for pre-game around 3:30, 4, you leave for the game, you get to the stadium, you do all your things with warm-up and the game itself, you do post-match, you pack up, and then you get to the airport, and then you get on the plane. But you've been up since 8, and then you get on the plane around like 11 or 12, maybe sometimes 1 o'clock, depending on where you are. And when you land, that's when you're like, oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And then thankfully we don't have to go through the main terminal, but we do have, border security there, and they check our, our stuff. And then we take our little park and fly bus to our car. And then I don't get home. Like, from Dallas, I got home at 5 a.m. So that was tough. So, but what we do is, at least on Sunday morning, my partner and I, we know, or my fiance and I,
yes,
it feels weird saying it, but fiance and I, we know that Sunday's our day. So, we'll watch football on the couch, and then, when the 1 o'clock games are done, I might need a nap. But like, even that day when I got engaged, that was after the Dallas game. I took a nap, and he's like, oh, let's go for a long walk. And that's something we do, is we'll go for a long walk. And then that, for me, is something that we can connect. Either we go do something like go to the movies or go for a walk, or if we want to go mini golfing, depending on how much energy I have, I'll do. He's so so supportive of my career and where I want to be in my life that like even when we play in Seattle, he'll drive down so that he could be a part of the experience. And he knows that when we're on extended trips, that's like, okay, that's a little tough, but checking in with each other, it's great. And he works from home. So those days that I leave training early, I get to be home and he's already there.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
brilliant.
yeah, it works. And it's like, and I think that's a bigger conversation later, but right now he's my biggest cheerleader. He's like, yeah, oh my God, you're going to Miami. Oh my God, you're going to Monterey. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. So like having him in my corner is just, it's unbelievable. And finding the right person it makes this job that much easier.
Yeah. I mean, I joke a lot on the show that I never see my wife. And we see each other maybe 4 hours a day some days because she gets up early. I go to bed really late and but it keeps our good relationship as well. And she's very supportive and I appreciate what she lets me do. And like, it was so funny because the last time we had a big chat was before the Axel round table and we're talking about weddings. And then like 2 weeks later, you get engaged. So I thought that was funny, but he picked a good time and because you're on the high of the Dallas win as well. So
yeah. Yeah, exactly. We came back. It was kind of bittersweet. I know I shouldn't be talking about this, but the World Series really crushed my heart.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I'll bring it up myself. I know. But it's okay. Crushed your heart. He's like, I needed to end the weekend on a high note. I was like, okay, respect. So there we go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Your travels this year. And like, I've been lucky. You've shown me some of the videos and photos at training, like the weirdness in Mexico City where you have to go underneath the pitch to go down and everything. And I mean, you've had a lot of experience. It's Mexico a couple of times, Costa Rica. And yeah, Costa Rica. All these games are now blurring into one. What's been the craziest thing that you've gone through? We won't talk food poisoning, but so apart from food poisoning, what's been the craziest experience you've had this year?
On our way down to Pumas, I believe it was, our pilot called in sick. So it was a long flight and he was unfortunately sick, but you need a special pilot that can fly in altitude. So we couldn't just switch a different pilot. So we had to land in a very small airport outside of Colorado, I believe it was, and get down and then wait for a pilot, but we couldn't exit the plane. So we landed outside, I think Boulder. I can't remember where it was. And we were just stuck on this plane for 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours, waiting for another pilot. But we couldn't get off the plane. So we just stood around in the aisles waiting. And then the pilot came. And then you can't fly commercial into Mexico City. You have to go again outside of Mexico City. So we had to fly in somewhere else to our customs there one at a time in a very weird. And then it was just a long process to get in there. And then that was crazy. And then obviously the game it meant so much. So it was like, we didn't get to the hotel until like 1 a.m. And then we played the next day in altitude and all that. So that was crazy. And I think just in general, like you said, Costa Rica, we started the season at Saprissa, like with Jesper, his first game was a CONCACAF Champions Cup game. He didn't even know what the tournament was. And he was like, obviously he did his research before that, but like we get to Costa Rica and he's like, okay, I guess we're playing this Costa Rican team. And then, yeah, so we played there and went straight to Portland. And then it rained all day and all game.
Oh, yes, I was there.
Yeah, it was such a bad situation. And then right when the game ended, the sun came out, but Jaden had a great game. And then the same thing, we went to Mexico again and went straight to Dallas. So those first trips were really like, and especially going into like Mexico, it was like, those were long trips and we didn't know what the outcome was going to be, obviously, but like, we're just putting our all in there and we were just still trying to find our identity, even though we had some sort of identity, but it was nice to like figure that out together.
Hopefully the highest point of the season is still to come.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of highs. What's been your favourite moment or favourite game so far this year?
I think I still get chills thinking about it. And it made me cry was when I came out of the ground at the stadium against when we were playing Cruz Azul, same stadium we played Pumas in, but you have to come out from the bottom, like where the tracks are. So I came out from the bottom and the first thing I did was I turned to my left and it was the 800 or so Whitecaps fans in Mexico, all dressed up, all cheering and singing for the players. I think that made me so emotional knowing that we started the season again in Saprissa and there was one fan. I saw that one fan from our our lookout booth. Axel and myself were looking, we're like, is that a guy in a Whitecaps jersey in Saprissa? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go talk to him at halftime. I had to get a police escort down there. I couldn't just go by myself. And this man was standing by himself with like 12 guards, but it was one guy. And I spoke to him. I'm like, why are you here? How did you get here? Like, he's like, oh, it's hotter here than Vancouver, so why not? And it was just this one fan that stood in the crowd, in Saprissa. And it ended that tournament with 800 in Mexico. So for me, it was just you're in it, you're in the games, you're traveling, and you're just going game by game. You're not really thinking, but the impact it has to take a moment back and be like, this is a special moment, not just for us, but it's for the fans. And to be able to share it with the fans was just so magical. Obviously, the game didn't end the way we wanted to, not even remotely, but I am so proud of the team. Like, I am so proud of them and everything that they did afterwards, and having that moment was just incredible. And then even just all these little call-ups that we're getting, and brand new call-ups like Sebastian and Tristan getting called up to the U.S. men's national team for the first time, Jaden getting back into the conversation, Edier and Kenji and Gubas and all these guys that are making an impact, and knowing that the World Cup is in Vancouver next year. I think it's just so special to see our guys out there. And we just watched the U17s play in the breakfast room, and all the boys were locked in while they're eating breakfast. And you see Johnny Slamani and Salil Deo taking penalty kicks, and you're just like, those are our guys, and they're also making waves and all that such. So
yeah, thankfully they both scored as well, because I was like, I know someone's got to miss, someone's got to be the villain for one of the teams. I just hope it's not one of our guys. But
exactly,
yeah, that was a niggly penalty shootout.
Yeah, the chin up was hilarious.
That was like bizarre.
Yeah.
I won't keep you for too much longer. I hadn't planned what we were going to talk about. It's maybe come across during the course of this, but obviously there's a big game coming up. So a lot of this show is going to be focusing on LA Whitecaps. You've been through the ringer the last 2 years down at pitch level in these series, but now it's a one-off, and we've got home field advantage, and we've got 54,000 fans that's going to be there. First of all, like you've been down at the Miami game with that big crowd. Is it just like goosebumps down at pitch level when you look around? I got it from the media box at the Dallas game, all the flags. It was just like an incredible atmosphere. What's it like to be at pitch level for that?
It's magical. Like you said, it's like it's so surreal, because when the fans come together and they do something like that, it's noticeable because it's so many people. So when the Dallas game happened and upstairs was open, it's blinding. And I think it was Ali post game was just like, that was his favorite moment. It was like, that was the moment. It just like, the city was there. He's like, I got goosebumps. And he's like, I thought it was just because it was cold on pitch level, but he's like, no, it was the flags. It was just everyone cheering. And at pitch level, it's like your peripherals are, I know you don't have visuals and it's all audio. What I'm doing is I'm using my arms, and it's just like from your eyesight above, it feels like you're cocooned and succumbed with fandom. And because it's our fans, it's nice to sing along with the Southsiders, because I'll tap my feet and I'm like, okay, I'm with them. I'm singing along with them.
Yeah, because we're right behind them pretty much now. And it's like you find yourself just bobbing away.
Exactly. And you're like, da, da, da. And any song that they're singing, you're like, all right, Ryan Gold is magic. And you're like singing along with them, which is great. And then seeing the next generation as well. You see the little kids screaming their faces off with face paint on and holding their scarves up. It's so cool to see you always remember the moment when you fall in love with a team or a club. And I feel like this year it's creating that next generation of like, I remember I was at that Inter Miami game. I remember I was at that, Pumas game or the Saprissa game or the Can Champ game or the Dallas game, or now this one being 53,000. It's going to be like, I remember when I saw LAFC come into town. And because they've come into into town and we've gone there so many times in the last 3 years. But this is that, like you said, one off. It has that little bit of extra edge. It has that little, it is winner literally go home. And especially because that this year has been so magical, and I'm glad we got them now instead of the 3-game series. This is the fun, get into that semifinal like that. The gusto is just, I've been waiting, and I'm like counting, like literally pulling ticks on the wall because I'm so excited for the game.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, we spoke about this at training this week. It's like, it just feels so long. And it's great for us because we'll get Tristan and Brian hopefully back to start by the looks of how they're looking this week. Definitely involved, if nothing else. So that's all the ticks. We've got rested. We don't have players coming back from Korea and Morocco from international duty. So there's that aspect as well, whereas they do. But it's a huge game, and there's nerves, and you don't know how players will respond when they get on the pitch. But I think the good thing about us is we've been through these games. Like that Miami game, there would have been nerves, and they didn't show it. I know how we both would love this to play out. Mm-hmm. How do you think this is going to play out? Is it going to be 120 minutes? Is it going to get done in the 90? Is it going to be a case that we are dominating and then they're going to just be in the counter attack? How do you see this going?
Yeah, I think the teams that, like the LAFC team that we played earlier this year, both home and away, it's completely different, right? But we have to look at what we did in those games and what they did in those games, because it's only one or two people that have changed, right? So I think that we're a very confident team. I feel like this year has been one of those years that if we've gone down, I don't feel the like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Not panicking, but like, when you're questioning, like, okay, when is it going to come? When is the moment that we're going to score or something like that? Like back in the day, it was like, oh, we're down. Like, okay, we got to not panic or like rush something, but it's like, we got to make something happen. Kind of like even like attack. When we were in Orlando, not that it was like, oh, I had no doubt, but it's just like, they're so calm. It's like things slow down a little bit, I feel. And I feel like with our team, because of the 3 weeks, like you said, having Tristan and Brian in training, like involved outside, that also helps with everything, like, energy and as well, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be a battle of both really good teams. And I think we're one of those teams that is confident. So hopefully the confidence pushes us through.
Hopefully. Last thing. So we started by talking about your career and the journey that you've had. If someone's listening to this, male or female, and they're wanting to get into the industry, what's your advice to them?
Just go for it. Try and apply, do it, get your education in it. And there's no fear in trying. I went back to school when I was 25, and at that time I thought I was so old. I was like, oh my gosh, this is never going to work, changing career at the age of 25. But I did. And then when I was done, I applied to over 250 jobs online. And I got the guest experience at the Blue Jays, which meant that I walked around and giving pencils to kids. That's what I got after my degree. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to get it. But I kept applying. I kept doing it. And then I did the thing of, you move to a small city and make your mistakes. So I moved to Fort St. John and I did news up there.
That's where my brother-in-law's just moved to.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't move there for life.
Yeah, he's got a good job with Scottish Hydro.
Yeah. And then so I did that, and then I moved to Kelowna, and then I just made my way. And, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and, take the advice that you get, but also like I said off the top, is be authentic to who you are. So if you feel like this is your right move, go for it. Get out of the comfort zone, but also be true to who you are.
Cool. BC Hydro, not Scottish Hydro. But thank you for joining us today. We've wanted to have you on for a while. We need to get you on again and talk more, but yeah, thank you for your time.
No
enjoy
problem.
the weekend and enjoy the week and the build up to the game, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Bye, Michael.
Thanks so much to Whitecaps club reporter Sarita Patel there. And we're going to make sure it's not another 5 years, but before we get her back on the show, the Sarita that you see doing all these hits and videos is the Sarita off camera as well. You can tell from our chat there. She's a great person to be around. She's been a fantastic addition to the Whitecaps media side of things. And she does such a good job just bringing the best out the players when she's chatting to them. So I hope you enjoyed that chat there. I think it's a good insight as to what the life of a club reporter is like. And it's not all glamorous because the travel, there is so much of it, especially here in Vancouver, and it can wear you down. But she's always got a smile on her face. She's always got time for everyone. So thanks, Sarita, for the chat there. But that's not it for the football chat. We've got one more part to come in this episode, and we're going to be talking World Cup in the next part. Tickets, qualifiers, under 17, and a few other things sprinkled in as well. And we'll be back talking about all of that after the second of our Britpop songs.
Hi, I'm Emmanuel Sabi, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the second of our Britpop songs for the show. From Hull in England, the band is called Soda. They released 5 singles from 1994 to 1996, and that was the second of them. The Young Own the Town. It reached number 13 in the UK indie charts, didn't chart in the main UK charts. Their biggest hit came a few weeks later. That song was released on November 20th, 1995. Their big hit came with a song that they released on January 29th, 1996, called Inside. And they rushed released that as they were going on a big tour with Britpop icon Shed 7. And that gave them kind of most of the publicity that they got. But I like that one. The Young Own the Town. Excellent song. Check it out, all their other stuff. Soda, as in the drink. So we'll get back to the football chat now. And we're going to turn our attention to World Cup chat. And various aspects of it. We're going to talk tickets. We're going to talk the Under-17 World Cup. But let's kick things off, Zach. World Cup qualifiers. The crazy thing, like we were talking about this before we went on air, because the draw's getting done before the final European playoff people are known as to who's got through it. Scotland, if they win their group, and I'll come to Scotland in a sec, are likely to be in pot 3 at the World Cup draw. If they get through the playoffs, there's a good chance that they could be in pot 1 or pot 2, because the seeding for the European thing in the draw is going to be based on who the highest team in the playoffs are. it's going to then mean a higher seed, and there's a good chance that the European playoff person could be in pot 1.
That's absolutely asinine and crazy.
I was explaining that today, and I was like,
sorry,
wow.
I should say I understand why they're doing it, but it is still crazy.
It's nuts. Let's talk Scotland. I went through the ringer on Saturday. I wasn't watching the NSL game live because I was watching Scotland-Greece.
Oh, did you have a bit of Slovakia?
I do like Greek food. It is one of my favourite foods. I struggle to find decent Greek restaurants here. The best Greek food I've ever had was in Santorini.
Yeah, I believe it.
Kiddies were like just melt in the mouth. It was just like amazing. I love Greece as a country. I've been on a Greek island tour, been to Athens. Wonderful country, wonderful food, wonderful people.
Did you go to any football there?
No, I went in June. The problem's been most of my travels have always been at the end of East 5 season, which means that the European season's wrapped up. So I've never got to see games in places overseas. I'd love to. I went to the Olympic Stadium and I went to Olympia. So I got to see the original Olympia. So it was wonderful. So as much as I loved Greece, I was cursing them on Saturday. They dominated Scotland. They should have been 4-5 up by half time. Somehow it was only 1-0. But then they made it 3-0 by about the hour mark. Then Denmark were winning 1-0 against Belarus. So it was like, Tuesday's game doesn't matter now.
Yeah.
Scotland's in the playoffs. Then Scotland made it 3-1. Scotland made it 3-2. Belarus made it 1-1. Belarus made it 2-1. And you're like, what is happening here? If we get another goal, all of a sudden, we just need a draw on Tuesday and we're automatically going to the World Cup. Denmark, though, equalised, got their point. We threw everything at Greece and didn't. But ultimately, long story short, Scotland, Denmark, Hampden on Tuesday. If Scotland win, go into the World Cup for the first time since 1998. If they don't, they're in the playoffs, and it's the luck of the draw by that point.
Yeah, and some of the teams in the playoffs are no pushover.
No, some you are, but some you definitely want to avoid.
But even some of the ones that you might think are more pushovery they've achieved, like Albania. Traditionally, you might think, oh, we'd fancy you Scotland. You'd fancy your chances against Albania. But on the form they're in and what this means for them, like you talk about, first time since 90, and this would be like the first time in their history as that they would be able to achieve something like this. So
it's going to be a nervy Tuesday, I've got to say. Well, frustratingly, the Whitecaps are having their LAFC pre-match press conference during the game with a Scot, Ryan Gauld, and a Dane, Jesper Sorensen.
Yeah. I like how you described it to me earlier. A Scot who conceivably could be in the World Cup.
At the World Cup. I'm wanting to know, can I just watch my team? Yeah. I've already complained to Nathan and Brandon. They know my thoughts on this. One of the guys in the media chat, Trevor from Global, was like, because Colin Miller was complaining as well, saying, there's no respect for us. And Trevor Henderson was like, I know you guys are old, but have you heard of PVRs? Got to watch this live. I can't not watch it live.
Well, plus, your phone will be lighting up, right?
Yes. It would be spoiled for me, sir.
But no, I mean, the crazy thing about the playoffs, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but is for the third time in a row, Italy's once again in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not a side you'd want to face, but also a side that's gone out the last 2 times in the playoffs.
It's straight knockouts as well in the playoffs.
Yeah, single elimination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be nuts. Also, want to say a big well done to Ireland and our good friend, Whitecaps kit man, Marty McDermott. He won't hear this, he'll still be drunk. An amazing 96th minute winner. After losing their first 2 games in the qualifying campaign, spoke to Marty a lot about this. Kev Egan, when he was on the show, was like, don't know what's happened to them. Can't wait to speak to Kev again about this. Wow. 96th minute winner in Hungary to win 3-2 after trailing 1-0 and 2-1. They were 2-1 down in the 80th minute. Made it 2-2. 96th minute winner. There were scenes. Everywhere there were scenes.
And in the same breath, we want to share our commiserations with, Vancouver's favorite Hungarian, Peter Zimmerman, for Hungary being ousted from the competition.
Yeah. I feel for Peter, but well done, Ireland.
Yeah. No, I told Peter, like, there's some Magyars in this team that I really appreciate like Soboslai. I have a lot of time for Soboslai. I mean, they don't play for a club that I like, but guys like Willie Orban and Gulashi and yeah, some others like they have some like high quality players.
I think a lot of folk though don't like Hungary because of the political side, and they can't separate the political side to the football team, and I get that because
That's fair.
it's
And
not a great country in that
no,
aspect.
but that's also another reason why I think they would have been fun at the World Cup because I know people are like,
I wouldn't have wanted them here.
Well, I said fun. I didn't. No, because they will bring like very strong ultras.
They'd be like, we hear you have, I don't know what accent this is, but we hear you have Football Violence Awareness Month in Vancouver.
Yeah, no, you should
If
probably.
anyone can tell me what that accent was, please do get in touch.
They would have brought a certain like passion to the like they've brought to the Euros.
Oh no, yeah. Oh no, there was some brilliant atmospheres at the last two.
As much as my personal politics wouldn't align with theirs either. But yeah, no, and I know people are like, oh, Ireland at a World Cup is an amazing thing, and
Can you imagine Ireland here? I don't think Vancouver is ready for hordes of Irish folk here for a World Cup.
I have not imagined Ireland being one of the teams in Vancouver, but I think you and I would be very happy if they were.
Oh, it'd be wonderful, I think.
It'd be good. It would be good for the quality of the tickets.
Oh, yes. We'll come to tickets in a second.
Yeah, sorry.
African World Cup qualifying, the playoffs, Gabon got beat by Nigeria, Cameroon got beat by Congo, and then today, Congo knocked out Nigeria on penalties. Good first half, 1-1, and then neither team wanted to play for the second half or for extra time. They should just have gone to penalties at that point because it was too cagey after that. It was a horrible penalty shootout. The first 4 penalties were missed. It was like nuts, but then Congo got through. But it only gets them to the Intercontinental playoffs, but they've got to fancy their chances in that. The CONCACAF World Cup qualifying is insane. At the time of recording, we could realistically have 2 first-time qualifiers from the region, with Suriname leading Group A on goal difference from Panama, following a big 4-0 win over El Salvador on Thursday. They've now got an away game against Guatemala on Tuesday, and if Suriname can win that, barring a blowout from Panama over El Salvador, Suriname's going to the World Cup. In Group B, Curacao lead Jamaica off their own accord by a point. They thumped Bermuda 7-0, and Jamaica dropped 2 points, not of their own accord, in a 1-0 draw at Trinidad and Tobago. Now, it's Jamaica-Curacao on Tuesday in Jamaica. A draw is enough for Curacao. Jamaica need to win. It should be an absolute cracker of a game. And you'll be able to see those free on CONCACAF's YouTube channel. Group C is also very much up for grabs. I know that's the one you've got the big interest in.
Yep.
Honduras and Haiti are tied on 8 points. Honduras' goal difference is 2 better, so they're top. Costa Rica are on third on 6 points, and that's because of a couple of shock results on Thursday. Nicaragua beat Honduras 2-0, and they were well worthy of that victory as well.
Yes.
Haiti beat Costa Rica 1-0. Now, I only watched the highlights of that, and that was a shocker. And Haiti now hosts Nicaragua on Tuesday, that you would imagine Haiti should get the job done. Costa Rica host Honduras, so Honduras currently top, but could miss out altogether and end up being third. And Haiti could end up heading to their second ever World Cup, first one in 1974. All the remaining games kick off at the same time, 5 o'clock Tuesday night Pacific time, all of them on CONCACAF YouTube. It's going to be amazing.
I will be following that, pulling for Nicaragua. Costa Rica to win both those matches. Costa Rica has called in a number, including Kendall Lawson. They've called in a number of old-time players.
Yeah.
To try and help save this qualification
And
campaign.
they could still finish top. Like if Nicaragua win and Costa Rica win, they can
but
be top.
they really needed to win that game in Haiti. I watched the match and they've just been I think they won the game before this, I think, but they've just been snake bitten. Like they just been in front of goal. They have not been able to score. And then on top of that, now they've lost. I know you were sad about this on social media. They lost one of their players, the guy from NYCFC, Martinez,
yeah,
which is not another not helpful thing for them going into this last match, because they need all the possibilities. It was, I mean, Kendall started center back, but then at the end of the game when they needed a goal for the last 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, again they were like, go for it. But even then he was getting more like, he wasn't getting the type of headers that you would want in terms of, the real powerful ones that he's known for. He had a few knockdowns that were like good, but they didn't turn into anything. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, and to see, if Nicaragua can kind of keep their form rolling as they play.
I genuinely have no idea how that group's going to play out. It's like nuts. And the Curacao-Jamaica game, that's the one I'm going to have on, because so much on the line in that one. But I watched the Suriname game against El Salvador, and they just tore them apart. They were like rampant. For me, this is what World Cup's all about, because you talked about Albania, if they can get to their first ever World Cup. If Suriname and Curacao can get to a World Cup, it would be absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, these would be huge moments for these countries in a footballing sense.
Do you know who else would love to get to a World Cup? General fans here in Canada, and it's looking tougher and tougher. We'll talk some World Cup tickets here. The latest round of lotteries for people to buy tickets went live this week. We were told residents of Canada, the US and Mexico would get like special allocation times. So we both know folk that were lucky in this draw, lottery, whatever you want to call it, until they got in and then they saw the ticket prices and what was available. Now, we've both heard some horror stories here.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, a warning, which I think we touched on this when I spoke about us getting our tickets in the first lot. You only have 10 minutes before you're timed out. And it doesn't tell you that anywhere on the website.
Yeah.
Because we were messaging back and forth, what do you want to do? What do you want me to get? And by the time we'd done it, I got kicked out and I had to go in the queue again. This time, I know somebody that went in the queue, had a ticket for one of the Canada games. I want to say it was like $260. Got kicked out. It was an hour before they got back in. And when they got back in, that same ticket was priced at $635.
Yeah.
And we've both heard other stories that the ticket prices from when folk first went in to when they get in later were like more than double.
I don't have I only have a source of a friend, but I've been told that UEFA has come out and said for Euro 2028, they will not be doing dynamic pricing. That it'll be the normal, because that's being held in like the whole UK, right?
Yeah.
So,
and there was big issues there with the Oasis tickets.
Yeah.
It's such a horrible thing in any aspect, football, any sport, concerts. I go to concerts. I like to get my ticket early. There's nothing more annoying than seeing the price then drop.
Yeah.
But if you're in a draw, the same day, the ticket should be the same price for everyone. It shouldn't be, I went in, I've gone back in, and now the ticket I could have got is more than double the price. But the prices are obscene. And I don't know who's going to be able to get to these games. And if it's the touts that's got the tickets, in many ways, I kind of hope a lot of them are screwed over and they've got to then drop the prices and they lose a lot of money. But it just feels that it's another farce and it's just going to keep going. And once it's the free-for-all open tickets and the draw's done, I dread to think what these prices are going to be. But I think, like, we balked at the price of the tickets when we got in phase one there in the Visa lottery. now it seems like, wow, these were great to get.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Update. I don't think I shared this with you, but I think from how shall I put it? From his various ways of trying to access the lotteries, Flo has got one spot, I think, on Monday morning for the international window in this phase or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Wait till he sees the prices when he gets
Yeah,
them.
I don't.
Although if he buys a Germany all follow thing, those are the ones like your club all follow ones right now are the ones that's not. Right, so also just all follow for the group games. They're the ones that's not obscenely priced right now.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's gonna even. I remember the prices for the Germany one when you were in because you were messaging me about them. I don't even know if he's willing to pay that. I think for him, out of principle and stuff, I don't know if he's willing to pay that amount. And yeah, I've heard. Even just recently, I've had some friends say, "I'm not going just out of principle. Like I don't want to give these people this kind of money. This is ridiculous. I'll wait for the Euros. I'll go when next time. I'll go another time around the world when they're not doing these shenanigans." The crappy thing is, and I think this is partly why you proceeded the way you did, and I was happy to be, happy to be a part of that. But it's just because the sad thing is, I think, yeah, aside from a few instances, I think most of these matches, the demand will outweigh the supply and the ridiculous amount that's being asked for these. Maybe not the crazy ones. Like I heard there was a person asking for like 21,000 for a pair of, I assume they were Category 1 tickets in Toronto. I don't think those kind of prices. I'm sorry. I hope those kind of prices are not, ultimately being paid. But if they are, I mean, if you're paying that amount, you can really, really, really afford it.
Yeah.
Or you're just, you must be able to really. There's no one who's like, oh, I'm going to just spend my life savings, or my life savings. I mean, part of my life savings on that amount of tickets that couldn't find them for cheaper. But yeah, it's people who can afford that is going to go to this, and I think there's too many of those people who to have any kind of protest or any kind of I'm staying away, hoping they'll learn their lesson. I think there's too many people willing to pay ridiculous prices that mean this tournament is going to be successful for them financially, for people in the stadium and all that kind of stuff. I would prefer they learned a lesson without your investment, meaning you lose that nice woolly shirt you're wearing right now, the woolly jumper you're wearing right now.
Hey, I'm just going to 2 games. And I know they're Canada, so no matter what, I'll be at those, whether as media, and then I've got 2 tickets going, or I'm in the stands. And it's like, if that's it, so be it.
Yeah. But it is crazy. It's going to be interesting to see how this actually all plays out in the end.
But I was talking, we recorded our East 5 podcast this morning, and I was talking to the guys before we recorded about this, because obviously they're like, oh, it'd be great to go over. And I said, have you heard about the ticket prices? So I was explaining everything to them. And I said, for example, if Scotland are in Vancouver, right now, your cheapest hotels for the night's $1,000 a night. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah. So it's not just your tickets. You've got your hotel, you've got your flights. It's everything like that.
And that's when you were like, and it's only $500 to sleep on the floor of my
yeah. I've offered my spare room to about 20 folk right now. So
yeah. Well, we offered our place to Flo, obviously.
Yeah.
And maybe if we can fit 1 or 2 others, but it's going to be. Well, even a Costa Rican said to me, so if we come up for the World Cup, I'm like, let's keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, if I've got a spare room, if Scotland are here, if one of my mates is coming over, I'll naturally put them up in it free of charge.
Yeah.
But I would hope someone would do that for me as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like if, say, Scotland were in Philadelphia and Jonathan Turnwall's like, come and stay at my place. Oh, awesome. Just putting that out in case Jonathan listens to this. Counting my chickens that we're getting through on Tuesday as well. Last World Cup thing we'll talk about. Under 17 World Cup. A couple of weeks ago, we spoke about the women's one, and it was a heartbreaking penalty shootout loss that ended Canada's hopes. This was an ugly and a niggly penalty shootout that ended Canada's hopes this time. They got their first ever win in the group. They got through the group for the first time. They were going up against Ireland in the round of 32. I fancied their chances. And they were down 1-0. They got a dramatically equaliser. The game went to penalties, and Ireland went through 9-8. It was a spectacle. In part, I mean, you could say Canada were held to ransom. Jonathan Ransom, the Canadian goalkeeper, very obnoxious little dude. And then turns out I found out he's actually American. That's why.
Yeah, that made a lot of.
From Athens,
not gonna lie.
Georgia. Who else is from Athens, Georgia? Or who played a lot in Athens, Georgia in their early days?
Early days. Oh, no.
Music-wise.
Oh. Is Joe Christmas? Joe Christmas is from there, but you would know Joe Christmas.
I don't know who that is.
Couple Skate by Joe Christmas. Classic video, classic song.
I just checked. They are actually also from Athens, Georgia. I knew they, because I've got a bootleg album of them when they were first starting out, just playing in a bar in Athens, Georgia, and reading out like birthday things to people and going through all the stuff.
Who is it?
Two albums. REM.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I did actually know that.
I tell you, I need to. I don't know if this will get us flagged totally for copyright because they're a big band, but Oasis don't. So REM's early stuff is amazing. I love their really early stuff, and the bootleg that I've got. Radio Free Europe, Pretty Persuasion, brilliant stuff.
I didn't get to know them until like whatever the early mid-90s or whatever with,
or like Orange Crush and
Shiny Happy People holding, and of course the Everybody Hurts song, which I think is such a good song.
Yes. Yeah, good band. I know they get a lot of stick and stuff, but it's like their earlier, more country stuff I love, which is weird because I hate country music. The country rock stuff's really good.
Do they still play?
I don't know, actually.
I saw them, or did one of the guys pass away? Was it Michael Shanahan has a cover band of theirs, I think?
Oh, they have been playing, yes, because they did. The cover band were playing, and then Michael Stipe turned up and sang it and stuff, yeah.
I think you and I were at this, I think, the same concert, right? When I don't think REM was the opening or co-headliner, but was it not Michael Stipe who came on stage to sing? I can't remember which song. It wasn't Creep. Maybe it was Creep.
Oh, maybe Radiohead, UBC.
Yeah, Radiohead, UBC. Didn't he come on stage at the end of that?
Oh, I'm not
show?
Sure.
He sang a song, I thought. I think it was Karma Police or something.
It says they're kind of still going.
Okay.
Played a one-off show in 24, a one-off show in 25.
Okay.
I'd love them to tour their early albums because I've got them on vinyl, got them on CD, got some rare CD singles and 7-inch singles from them as well. This is bizarre that we're now talking REM when we're doing Under 17 World Cup. This is how the podcast is along. But yeah, Jonathan Ransom, the Canadian goalkeeper from Athens, Georgia, who had the temerity, Zach, to say to Grady O'Donnell, McDonnell,
yeah.
I've just added I've made him full Irish there. Grady McDonnell, why did you leave? I just want to know why you left Canada. Why did you leave the US? Why are you playing for Canada, mate? But anyway, I wanted Grady to score his penalty, but I wanted Canada to win the shootout. It wasn't to be, but the chirping back and forward, a lot of expletives dropped, a lot of antics swinging on the bar. Now, I'm all for that, but I think and he's young and he'll learn. I think what he needed to learn quickly was all he was doing was firing the Irish up so much.
Yeah. I thought it was embarrassing. Like, I thought how he handled and conducted himself was embarrassing and honestly felt un-Canadian. I think I said to you, we were talking before recording, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it reminded me of like John Herdman, riling up the Croats supposedly unintentionally. And it was, it was surprising. Like I said to you too, I was shocked that the referee didn't step in and say, hey, I'm going to start booking you guys if you're going to keep yelling at each other in this way at this tournament. Like,
Because every Irish player was in his face after
oh
the
yeah,
kicks. And
but they were only
understandably so as well.
exactly. They were only in his face because he was so in their face or in their ear or whatever. And like, yeah, I mean, he probably felt when he made the save after he got the yellow card for doing pull-ups on the crossbar. Again, moronic. But I think he probably felt after he made that save, he's like, okay, I'm getting to them. But ultimately that was not the case, and I think he looks really foolish. And
you expend so much mental energy by doing that as well.
Yeah, I just think it's not the kind of way you want people representing your country or people representing your club to conduct themselves. I don't think you want to win that way.
But I mean, I don't mind it to an extent, but I just think it went too far.
Oh yeah.
Like when you've got keepers pulling streamers out of them, it's hilarious, but at the same time, I don't think that's right either. We were talking like at the SFU game, Sarah Lowen, player I've known, lovely person, great goalkeeper. She went up and put her hand out to shake the hands of the opposition penalty takers, and they were like, okay. I shook her hand and placed the ball. That's fun mind games, and it's polite and it's nice and respectful, but at the same time, it's like
a little bit awkward.
Throwing them off a bit.
It's a little bit jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought Ransom embarrassed himself and embarrassed our country, and
it didn't work. I mean, if it had worked, I might feel different as well. But the fact it didn't. But I was watching it. I literally said out loud, "What a prick!"
Well, no, that's the thing. I think even if we'd won, I'd still be like, I don't really want this person representing our country. Like
there was a point during it that I was like, I kind of hope Ireland win this.
Well, my take on it was, I mean, the tournament as a whole, I want Canada to go obviously as far as possible.
Well, yeah, there was a couple of Whitecaps, three Whitecaps guys on the squad, 2 scored penalties, so I was gutted for them.
The team is being helped managed by the great Jeevan Kang.
Yes.
Well, I texted him before.
We should get Jeevan on the show to chat about that.
Yeah, we should actually, about the keeper. I texted him like right after it was confirmed they were playing Ireland. I was like, so you're the secret weapon on how to like shut down Grady and what's going on in the Ireland camp or whatever. But no, I think I wanted Canada to go as far. But if they were going to go out, I would have wanted them to go out to either Grady, because I really like Grady McDonald.
Yeah,
and I want him to continue to progress in his career, or the Germans, who I think now have also gone out in the round of, is it 32 or 16 or whatever, they've gone out.
Well, Grady's response when he scored his penalty, which
yes,
we haven't sworn at any other point during this, so I won't, because then we'll have to mark it explicit. So we'll have one that isn't explicit for a change. But he was giving the F-bombs back to the guy and telling him
he called him a loser.
Yeah. And it's like, well, if you've any doubt that Grady doesn't want to play for Ireland and maybe is Canadian, he was fired up for Ireland.
No, but that's, I mean, I don't want to put too much stock into what an American-born keeper playing for Canada, what kind of influence or input they would have into a Grady McDonald's ultimate, decision playing for Canada in terms of, the full international level. But yeah, it doesn't help.
No. There was a nice picture on Instagram as well of his dad, Brian, hugging him. And it was really sweet. A lot of time for Grady, Brian as well. But good luck to Ireland for the rest of the tournament.
Yes.
I'm cheering on now. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for the football chat. We will end, as we always do, with this episode's Wavelength, the section of the show where we play a song all about or around football. Now, I thought this was an interesting one to go with. It's by a Siberian techno post-punk band, Zach. A very intense song that they released on February 7th this year. This is the radio edit, which is 3 minutes 50, as opposed to the full 7-8 minute full-on techno thing. The band is called Capital Lifting 38, and this is War is Not a Football Match. Capital lifting 38 from Siberia. War is not a football match. Although sometimes a football match can be a war.
Zvonimir Bowman.
I mean, the penalty shootout with Ireland and Canada was a war. I think we could be in for a bit of a war between the Whitecaps and LAFC on Saturday. I cannot wait. We'll be back next time talking about that. Maybe even bring another podcast out before it as well later this week. Before we round this one off, though, Zach, any final thoughts from you?
Well, I'll share. Can I share? I know I got criticism for not sharing Bayern's stories last week. Can I share a Bayern story this week?
How do you know? Oh, you saw the yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you can't talk about James Cameron this week.
No,
unless you've watched Titanic or something. But
no, I have not. Definitely not done that. It's been obviously it's been a really good season for Bayern Munich. One of the things that Bayern has been struggling with these last few years is bringing through their own youth players to the level where they're good enough to play for the first team, to actually make that kind of breakthrough into the first team. Obviously, they've done that. They have Alexander Pavlovich, who kind of did that last year or a little bit the year before. A few years ago, obviously Jamal Musiala, who they plucked as a youngster from Chelsea, but came through their rank, part of their ranks to break through into the first team. So there have been some successes, but just not quite enough. And so they continue to try and bring in young players and see them through. One player that they just brought in on a free loan as I think like a 19-year-old or whatever, is a guy named Tom Bischoff, who can play kind of anywhere. Anywhere in midfield or kind of wide attacker or central attacking midfielder, maybe even second striker if you really want to, but can play as deep as a 6. And this year, he's had so much trouble finding time on the pitch that companies even use him as a left back for Bayern, as they look to fill the hole that Alphonso Davies and Hiroki Ito have left in their injuries in the left back spot. So he's a young player, a young German player. He hasn't come through the system, but been an exciting player. And then the guy who's come through the system is this kid named Leonard Karl. And if you've been watching Bayern this year, you've gotten a glimpse of him. He's made his Bundesliga debut, Champions League debut. I can't remember if he came on the day of People Call, but he's gotten goals and assists in all these competitions, and they've been really good. Some of them have been really good goals and quality assists. And he's just this like 17-year-old, like up and coming, like really exciting player. Anyways, both Tom Bischoff and Leonard Karl were in the U21s for the Germans this weekend. I haven't seen if they played a second game yet, but in their first game they played like, I don't know, Malta or Gibraltar or one of these weaker sides, and they just put them to the sword like 6-0 or 6-1. And Bischoff got a hat trick, and Karl got a brace, and just really excited, especially for more so for Karl, but even for Bischoff, just excited to see them kind of hopefully continue to push on to the place where they can actually break into the team and contribute. And Karl, I think, is a real gem of a young player. And so really excited for him. So if you're looking for a young player to keep your eye on, Leonard Karl at Bayern, still 17. I don't think he's turned 18 yet. Really, really exciting. On a local note, I think the word's out that BC Place opens at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to the game, do the Whitecaps a favor. Go early. There's nothing they would love more than for you to be in your seat at the stadium when the players come out for warm-up, to let them know that you're there, to let you know how you feel about them, to let you know that you support them, and to begin to make it maybe an intimidating place for LAFC as well. It would be disappointing if as we're recording next week, we're like talking about thousands or tens of thousands of people lined up outside waiting to get in BC Place because they showed up, half an hour before kickoff or something like that. So I know most people listening to this already know this info and understand how things work, but you probably also have friends who are coming to the game or whatever.
Well,
So
a lot of folk might not have seen you can't take water bottles and empty water bottles
Yes,
to make it quicker.
Yeah. True. So yeah, do what you can. Share with your friends who are going to the game. Encourage them to go early. Go even earlier, I guess, if you need to go to the pub and connect there or whatever. But just get to the game. Like, don't be stuck outside, waiting to get in behind a mob who's going to show up, less than an hour before kickoff.
Yeah.
It's going to be an exciting day in Vancouver football. Yeah. Be
I
there
can't
early to
wait.
enjoy it.
We'll be back next week talking all about it. Hopefully, it's not the last game of the season, and we'll have a lot more to bring you. Keep an eye on your feeds just in case we do bring out another one later this week before the game as well. But we'll definitely be back after the game with our next show next weekend. Until then, as always, thanks for listening. Take care. And Mon the Caps.
When you're listening in some far-flung corner of the globe to the World Service of a Saturday afternoon, crackly reception, interference, cosy, marvellous. Somehow comforting, isn't it? Legendary names, fathers and sons on the terraces, cheesy peas at half-time, pint for dad, mum's at home making the tea. Oh, everything's all right with the world, isn't it? Saturday afternoon is football. Hmm?
Minutes left, yeah, but